The SPE 2025's vision is fully oriented to build a healthy ecosystem as a guide for the development of the digital economy and finance in Indonesia. The SPE 2025's vision is then translated into the Indonesian Payment System Blueprint 2025, or BSPE 2025, which includes 5 initiatives: open banking, retail payment system, financial market infrastructures, data, regulation reformation. Open banking initiatives aim to encourage digital transformation in banking and build interlinks between banks and vintage. Open banking is a transformational effort in the financial sector that allows openness between banks and other third parties or non-banks in order to provide services that in accordance with consumer needs. Bank Indonesia encourages QR code standardization to strengthen interoperability through the Quick Response Code Indonesia Standard, or KRIS. On the middleland side, Bank Indonesia, together with the industry, will develop an integrated payment interface, or IPT, to ensure interoperability and encourage innovation on the service provider side, while reducing the barrier to entry. Bank Indonesia will also develop BI Fast as a fast payment infrastructure that serves all types of payment transactions. BI Fast will complement the back-end system of the national retail payment, which is expected to be able to encourage industry competitiveness, opening wider payment options for the public, increasing transaction efficiency, and strengthening the reliability of the retail payment system in Indonesia. The initiative to strengthen financial market infrastructures is intended as an effort to support efficiency and to perform Indonesia's financial market deepening so it can accelerate economic growth. Bank Indonesia will carry out modernization to the financial market infrastructures that organized by Bank Indonesia, namely BI RTGS, BI S4, and BI ETP, as well as strengthen the regulatory framework and related developments, Central Counterparty or CCP, and Trade Repository or TR. Data Hub will integrate the acquisition and payment transaction data traffic. Granular data acquisition results will be processed into Data Hub and presented back to the authorities and industries, while still paying attention to the Access Authority and protect personal data. Meanwhile, Payment ID will be a digital identity in the payment system that can be further processed into a high-value added information content and can be used to open up opportunities for economic and financial inclusion. Simplified and integrated licensing regime will be implemented without decreasing the prudential aspects based on the type of activity carried out or activity phase, and arranged according to the size, scale, and scope. The supervision methodology will be strengthened by combining the risk-based supervision method with the compliant-based supervision and by utilizing granular data, availability of granular data through data collection and data analytics, opening opportunities for strengthening the implementation of licensing and supervision through the use of RegTech and SupTech solutions. Bank Indonesia's efforts to encourage innovation are realized by revitalizing the Sandbox function to Sandbox 2.0. Bank Indonesia believes that digitalization will be able to transform Indonesia into a developed high-income nation. Digital transformation in the financial sector that jointly carried out by regulators and industry will be able to answer challenges in the digital era.
Setiap tahun, Indonesia semakin bergerak maju untuk menjadi pusat pengembangan ekonomi dan keuangan syariah dunia. Seluruh unsur dalam ekosistem ekonomi dan keuangan syariah berkomitmen serta terus berupaya meningkatkan peran industri halal agar dapat terus berkontribusi mendorong pertumbuhan ekonomi nasional. ISEF tahun ini diselenggarakan secara hybrid, kerjasama antara Bank Indonesia dan Komite Nasional Ekonomi Keuangan Syariah, serta berbagai mitra strategis di bidang ekonomi dan keuangan syariah. Kolaborasi berbagai pihak dari domestik hingga internasional yang semakin luas. Penyelenggaraan ISEF 2022 mengambil tema Recover Together, Recover Stronger, Optimizing Sharia Economy and Finance for Inclusive Recovery. Tema ini beresonansi dengan tema presidensi G20 Indonesia tahun 2022 sebagai bentuk upaya kita bersama untuk semakin bersinergi dalam mendorong kontribusi Eksiar untuk mendukung pemulihan ekonomi secara lebih cepat dan lebih kuat di berbagai wilayah Indonesia. ISEF 2022 mengelompokkan topik pembahasan menjadi 3 area, yakni ekonomi inklusi, halal and green lifestyle, dan digitalisasi yang berfokus pada kegiatan Indonesia International Modest Fashion Festival atau Intomotion Fest, penguatan ekosistem Global Halal Hub, dan akselerasi sertifikasi halal. Berbagai inovasi dalam pengembangan dan promosi bisnis syariah, serta upaya peningkatan likuiditas pasar uang syariah, pembiayaan syariah, serta peran sektor keuangan sosial syariah yang lebih masif untuk meningkatkan pemulihan dan kebangkitan UMKM halal, mendukung pengembangan industri halal, dan mengurangi kesenjangan sosial sebagai wujud inklusivitas pertumbuhan ekonomi syariah. ISEF dengan rangkaian kegiatan bertaraf nasional dan internasional juga difokuskan untuk mendorong pemulihan ekonomi nasional melalui halal and green lifestyle. Berbagai kegiatan juga dilakukan, mulai dari peningkatan kapasitas pelaku usaha syariah, perluasan akses pasar, pengembangan kemandirian ekonomi pesantren, penguatan pariwisata ramah muslim, hingga penguatan teknologi digital.
Semoga semakin ke depan itu semakin bagus.
Makanannya dari UMKM itu sangat luar biasa enak-enak.
Jadi wajib banget datang ke sini.
Teman-teman yang pengen nyari apapun di sini ada, dari mulai fashion, ada food yang halal juga dan lain sebagainya. Pokoknya ada. Dan kalau kita pengen belajar bisnis, datang ke sini.
Really appreciate the warm reception being given to us by the Indonesian community.
Dan memberikan kesempatan bagi kaum muslim dan muslimah di Indonesia untuk bisa memperdalam lagi pengetahuan dan membuka wawasannya mengenai bagaimana sih kehidupan yang layak untuk para muslim dan muslimah di Indonesia.
Apa yang saya nampak pada 3 hari sebelum ini adalah satu titik permulaan bagi ISEF sebagai platform untuk martabatkan dunia halal, kulinari dan juga fashion.
Indonesia Syariah Economic Festival ke-9 sukses menjadi wadah silaturahim pelaku ekonomi syariah di level nasional dan internasional. Berlandaskan nilai dan prinsip ekonomi syariah, ISEF mendorong Indonesia untuk mencapai visinya menjadi pusat ekonomi dan keuangan syariah dunia.
The SPE 2025's vision is fully oriented to build a healthy ecosystem as a guide for the development of the digital economy and finance in Indonesia. The SPE 2025's vision is then translated into the Indonesian Payment System Blueprint 2025, or BSPE 2025, which includes 5 initiatives: open banking, retail payment system, financial market infrastructures, data, regulation reformation. Open banking initiatives aim to encourage digital transformation in banking and build interlinks between banks and vintage. Open banking is a transformational effort in the financial sector that allows openness between banks and other third parties or non-banks in order to provide services that in accordance with consumer needs. Bank Indonesia encourages QR code standardization to strengthen interoperability through the Quick Response Code Indonesia Standard, or CRIS. On the middle-end side, Bank Indonesia, together with the industry, will develop an integrated payment interface, or IPT, to ensure interoperability and encourage innovation on the service provider side, while reducing the barrier to entry. Bank Indonesia will also develop BI Fast as a fast payment infrastructure that serves all types of payment transactions. BI Fast will complement the back-end system of the national retail payment, which is expected to be able to encourage industry competitiveness, opening wider payment options for the public, increasing transaction efficiency, and strengthening the reliability of the retail payment system in Indonesia. The initiative to strengthen financial market infrastructures is intended as an effort to support efficiency and to perform Indonesia's financial market deepening so it can accelerate economic growth. Bank Indonesia will carry out modernization to the financial market infrastructures that organized by Bank Indonesia, namely BI RTGS, BI S4, and BI ETP, as well as strengthen the regulatory framework and related developments, Central Counterparty or CCP, and Trade Repository or TR. Data Hub will integrate the acquisition and payment transaction data traffic. Granular data acquisition results will be processed into Data Hub and presented back to the authorities and industries, while still paying attention to the access authority and protect personal data. Meanwhile, Payment ID will be a digital identity in the payment system that can be further processed into a high-value added information content and can be used to open up opportunities for economic and financial inclusion. Simplified and integrated licensing regime will be implemented without decreasing the prudential aspects based on the type of activity carried out or activity phase, and arranged according to the size, scale, and scope. The supervision methodology will be strengthened by combining the risk-based supervision method with the compliant-based supervision and by utilizing granular data, availability of granular data through data collection and data analytics, opening opportunities for strengthening the implementation of licensing and supervision through the use of RegTech and SupTech solutions. Bank Indonesia's efforts to encourage innovation are realized by revitalizing the sandbox function to Sandbox 2.0. Bank Indonesia believes that digitalization will be able to transform Indonesia into a developed high-income nation. Digital transformation in the financial sector that jointly carried out by regulators and industry will be able to answer challenges in the digital era.
Setiap tahun, Indonesia semakin bergerak maju untuk menjadi pusat pengembangan ekonomi dan keuangan syariah dunia. Seluruh unsur dalam ekosistem ekonomi dan keuangan syariah berkomitmen serta terus berupaya meningkatkan peran industri halal agar dapat terus berkontribusi mendorong pertumbuhan ekonomi nasional. ISEF tahun ini diselenggarakan secara hybrid, kerjasama antara Bank Indonesia dan Komite Nasional Ekonomi Keuangan Syariah, serta berbagai mitra strategis di bidang ekonomi dan keuangan syariah. Kolaborasi berbagai pihak dari domestik hingga internasional yang semakin luas. Penyelenggaraan ISEF 2022 mengambil tema Recover Together, Recover Stronger, Optimizing Sharia Economy and Finance for Inclusive Recovery. Tema ini beresonansi dengan tema presidensi G20 Indonesia tahun 2022 sebagai bentuk upaya kita bersama untuk semakin bersinergi dalam mendorong kontribusi Eksiar untuk mendukung pemulihan ekonomi secara lebih cepat dan lebih kuat di berbagai wilayah Indonesia. ISEF 2022 mengelompokkan topik pembahasan menjadi 3 area, yakni ekonomi inklusi, halal and green lifestyle, dan digitalisasi yang berfokus pada kegiatan Indonesia International Modest Fashion Festival atau Into Motion Fest, penguatan ekosistem Global Halal Hub, dan akselerasi sertifikasi halal. Berbagai inovasi dalam pengembangan dan promosi bisnis syariah, serta upaya peningkatan likuiditas pasar uang syariah, pembiayaan syariah, serta peran sektor keuangan sosial syariah yang lebih masif untuk meningkatkan pemulihan dan kebangkitan UMKM halal, mendukung pengembangan industri halal, dan mengurangi kesenjangan sosial sebagai wujud inklusivitas pertumbuhan ekonomi syariah. ISEF dengan rangkaian kegiatan bertaraf nasional dan internasional juga difokuskan untuk mendorong pemulihan ekonomi nasional melalui halal and green lifestyle. Berbagai kegiatan juga dilakukan, mulai dari peningkatan kapasitas pelaku usaha syariah, perluasan akses pasar, pengembangan kemandirian ekonomi pesantren, penguatan pariwisata ramah muslim, hingga penguatan teknologi digital.
Semoga semakin ke depan itu semakin bagus.
Makanannya dari UMKM itu sangat luar biasa enak-enak.
Jadi wajib banget datang ke sini.
Teman-teman yang pengen nyari apapun di sini ada, dari mulai fashion, ada food yang halal juga dan lain sebagainya. Pokoknya ada. Dan kalau kita pengen belajar bisnis, datang ke sini.
Really appreciate the warm reception being given to us by the Indonesian community.
Dan memberikan kesempatan bagi kaum muslim dan muslimah di Indonesia untuk bisa memperdalam lagi pengetahuan dan membuka wawasannya mengenai bagaimana sih kehidupan yang layak untuk para muslim dan muslimah di Indonesia.
Apa yang saya nampak pada 3 hari sebelum ini adalah satu titik permulaan bagi ASEP sebagai platform untuk martabatkan dunia halal, kulinari dan juga fashion.
Indonesia Syariah Economic Festival ke-9 sukses menjadi wadah silaturahim pelaku ekonomi syariah di level nasional dan internasional. Berlandaskan nilai dan prinsip ekonomi syariah, ISEF mendorong Indonesia untuk mencapai visinya menjadi pusat ekonomi dan keuangan syariah dunia.
The SPE 2025's vision is fully oriented to build a healthy ecosystem as a guide for the development of the digital economy and finance in Indonesia. The SPE 2025's vision is then translated into the Indonesian Payment System Blueprint 2025, or BSPE 2025, which includes 5 initiatives: open banking, retail payment system, financial market infrastructures, data, regulation reformation. Open banking initiatives aim to encourage digital transformation in banking and build interlinks between banks and vintage. Open banking is a transformational effort in the financial sector that allows openness between banks and other third parties or non-banks in order to provide services that in accordance with consumer needs. Bank Indonesia encourages QR code standardization to strengthen interoperability through the Quick Response Code Indonesia Standard, or CRIS. On the middle-end side, Bank Indonesia, together with the industry, will develop an integrated payment interface, or IPT, to ensure interoperability and encourage innovation on the service provider side, while reducing the barrier to entry. Bank Indonesia will also develop BI Fast as a fast payment infrastructure that serves all types of payment transactions. BI Fast will complement the back-end system of the national retail payment, which is expected to be able to encourage industry competitiveness, opening wider payment options for the public, increasing transaction efficiency, and strengthening the reliability of the retail payment system in Indonesia. The initiative to strengthen financial market infrastructures is intended as an effort to support efficiency and to perform Indonesia's financial market deepening so it can accelerate economic growth. Bank Indonesia will carry out modernization to the financial market infrastructures that organized by Bank Indonesia, namely BI RTGS, BI S4, and BI ETP, as well as strengthen the regulatory framework and related developments, Central Counterparty, or CCP, and Trade Repository, or TR. Data Hub will integrate the acquisition and payment transaction data traffic. Granular data acquisition results will be processed into Data Hub and presented back to the authorities and industries, while still paying attention to the access authority and protect personal data. Meanwhile, Payment ID will be a digital identity in the payment system that can be further processed into a high-value added information content and can be used to open up opportunities for economic and financial inclusion. Simplified and integrated licensing regime will be implemented without decreasing the prudential aspects based on the type of activity carried out or activity phase, and arranged according to the size, scale, and scope. The supervision methodology will be strengthened by combining the risk-based supervision method with the compliant-based supervision and by utilizing granular data, availability of granular data through data collection and data analytics, opening opportunities for strengthening the implementation of licensing and supervision through the use of RegTech and SupTech solutions. Bank Indonesia's efforts to encourage innovation are realized by revitalizing the Sandbox function to Sandbox 2.0. Bank Indonesia believes that digitalization will be able to transform Indonesia into a developed high-income nation. Digital transformation in the financial sector that jointly carried out by regulators and industry will be able to answer challenges in the digital era.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to high-level panel seminar, Islamic Finance and Digitalization, Digital Transformation in Islamic Finance, hosted by Bank Indonesia in collaboration with Saudi Central Bank and Islamic Development Bank, and broadcasted live from Bali. And I would like to ask you all participants to return to this ballroom area in the Trans Resort Hotel. And for all audiences who join in person in this event, you can directly enter the room and to occupy the available seats. And please strictly maintain health procedures or protocols to prevent the spread of COVID-19 by wearing your mask, washing your hands regularly, and also keeping your safe distance. And for those who join us virtually, kindly pay attention to the following rules. First, kindly use the virtual background, which you can find in the chat box, and kindly use username format, institution, followed by your name, and be mindful of the COVID-19 health protocol. Should there be any problem occurs in Zoom application, please rejoin the backup WebEx link provided in the chat box. Thank you.
The SPE 2025's vision is fully oriented to build a healthy ecosystem as a guide for the development of the digital economy and finance in Indonesia. The SPE 2025's vision is then translated into the Indonesian Payment System Blueprint 2025, or BSPE 2025, which includes 5 initiatives: open banking, retail payment system, financial market infrastructures, data, regulation reformation. Open banking initiatives aim to encourage digital transformation in banking and build interlinks between banks and vintage. Open banking is a transformational effort in the financial sector that allows openness between banks and other third parties or non-banks in order to provide services that in accordance with consumer needs. Bank Indonesia encourages QR code standardization to strengthen interoperability through the Quick Response Code Indonesia Standard, or KRIS. On the middle-end side, Bank Indonesia, together with the industry, will develop an integrated payment interface, or IPT, to ensure interoperability and encourage innovation on the service provider side, while reducing the barrier to entry. Bank Indonesia will also develop BI Fast as a fast payment infrastructure that serves all types of payment transactions. BI Fast will complement the back-end system of the national retail payment, which is expected to be able to encourage industry competitiveness, opening wider payment options for the public, increasing transaction efficiency, and strengthening the reliability of the retail payment system in Indonesia. The initiative to strengthen financial market infrastructures is intended as an effort to support efficiency and to perform Indonesia's financial market deepening so it can accelerate economic growth. Bank Indonesia will carry out modernization to the financial market infrastructures that organized by Bank Indonesia, namely BI RTGS, BI S4, and BI ETP, as well as strengthen the regulatory framework and related developments, Central Counterparty or CCP, and Trade Repository or TR. Data Hub will integrate the acquisition and payment transaction data traffic. Granular data acquisition results will be processed into Data Hub and presented back to the authorities and industries, while still paying attention to the access authority and protect personal data. Meanwhile, Payment ID will be a digital identity in the payment system that can be further processed into a high-value added information content and can be used to open up opportunities for economic and financial inclusion. Simplified and integrated licensing regime will be implemented without decreasing the prudential aspects based on the type of activity carried out or activity phase, and arranged according to the size, scale, and scope. The supervision methodology will be strengthened by combining the risk-based supervision method with the compliant-based supervision and by utilizing granular data, availability of granular data through data collection and data analytics. opening opportunities for strengthening the implementation of licensing and supervision through the use of RegTech and SupTech solutions. Bank Indonesia's efforts to encourage innovation are realized by revitalizing the sandbox function to Sandbox 2.0. Bank Indonesia believes that digitalization will be able to transform Indonesia into a developed high-income nation. Digital transformation in the financial sector that jointly carried out by regulators and industry will be able to answer challenges in the digital era.
Setiap tahun, Indonesia semakin bergerak maju untuk menjadi pusat pengembangan ekonomi dan keuangan syariah dunia. Seluruh unsur dalam ekosistem ekonomi dan keuangan syariah berkomitmen serta terus berupaya meningkatkan peran industri halal agar dapat terus berkontribusi mendorong pertumbuhan ekonomi nasional. ISEF tahun ini diselenggarakan secara hybrid, kerjasama antara Bank Indonesia dan Komite Nasional Ekonomi Keuangan Syariah, serta berbagai mitra strategis di bidang ekonomi dan keuangan syariah. Kolaborasi berbagai pihak dari domestik hingga internasional yang semakin luas. Penyelenggaraan ISEF 2022 mengambil tema Recover Together, Recover Stronger, Optimizing Sharia Economy and Finance for Inclusive Recovery. Tema ini beresonansi dengan tema presidensi G20 Indonesia tahun 2022 sebagai bentuk upaya kita bersama untuk semakin bersinergi dalam mendorong kontribusi ikhtiar untuk mendukung pemulihan ekonomi secara lebih cepat dan lebih kuat di berbagai wilayah Indonesia. ISEF 2022 mengelompokkan topik pembahasan menjadi 3 area, yakni ekonomi inklusi, halal and green lifestyle, dan digitalisasi yang berfokus pada kegiatan Indonesia International Modest Fashion Festival atau Into Motion Fest, penguatan ekosistem Global Halal Hub, dan akselerasi sertifikasi halal. Berbagai inovasi dalam pengembangan dan promosi bisnis syariah, serta upaya peningkatan likuiditas pasar uang syariah, pembiayaan syariah, serta peran sektor keuangan sosial syariah yang lebih masif untuk meningkatkan pemulihan dan kebangkitan UMKM halal, mendukung pengembangan industri halal, dan mengurangi kesenjangan sosial sebagai wujud inklusivitas pertumbuhan ekonomi syariah. ISEF dengan rangkaian kegiatan bertaraf nasional dan internasional juga difokuskan untuk mendorong pemulihan ekonomi nasional melalui halal and green lifestyle. Berbagai kegiatan juga dilakukan, mulai dari peningkatan kapasitas pelaku usaha syariah, perluasan akses pasar, pengembangan kemandirian ekonomi pesantren, penguatan pariwisata ramah muslim, hingga penguatan teknologi digital.
Semoga semakin ke depan itu semakin bagus.
Makanannya dari UMKM itu sangat luar biasa enak-enak.
Jadi wajib banget datang ke sini.
Teman-teman yang pengen nyari apapun di sini ada, dari mulai fashion, ada food yang halal juga dan lain sebagainya. Pokoknya ada. Dan kalau kita pengen belajar bisnis, datang ke sini.
Really appreciate the warm reception being given to us by the Indonesian community.
Dan memberikan kesempatan bagi kaum muslim dan muslimah di Indonesia untuk bisa memperdalam lagi pengetahuan dan membuka wawasannya mengenai bagaimana sih kehidupan yang layak untuk para muslim dan muslimah di Indonesia.
Apa yang saya nampak pada 3 hari sebelum ini adalah satu titik permulaan bagi ASEP sebagai platform untuk martabatkan dunia halal, kulinari dan juga fashion.
Indonesia Syariah Economic Festival ke-9 sukses menjadi wadah silaturahim pelaku ekonomi syariah di level nasional dan internasional. Berlandaskan nilai dan prinsip ekonomi syariah, ISEF mendorong Indonesia untuk mencapai visinya menjadi pusat ekonomi dan keuangan syariah dunia.
The SPE 2025's vision is fully oriented to build a healthy ecosystem as a guide for the development of the digital economy and finance in Indonesia. The SPE 2025's vision is then translated into the Indonesian Payment System Blueprint 2025, or BSPI 2025, which includes 5 initiatives: open banking, retail payment system, financial market infrastructures, data, regulation reformation. Open banking initiatives aim to encourage digital transformation in banking and build interlinks between banks and vintage. Open banking is a transformational effort in the financial sector that allows openness between banks and other third parties or non-banks in order to provide services that in accordance with consumer needs. Bank Indonesia encourages QR code standardization to strengthen interoperability through the Quick Response Code Indonesia Standard or KRIS. On the middle-end side, Bank Indonesia, together with the industry, will develop an integrated payment interface or IPT to ensure interoperability and encourage innovation on the service provider side while reducing the barrier to entry. Bank Indonesia will also develop BI Fast as a fast payment infrastructure that serves all types of payment transactions. BI Fast will complement the back-end system of the national retail payment, which is expected to be able to encourage industry competitiveness, opening wider payment options for the public, increasing transaction efficiency, and strengthening the reliability of the retail payment system in Indonesia. The initiative to strengthen financial market infrastructures is intended as an effort to support efficiency and to perform Indonesia's financial market deepening so it can accelerate economic growth. Bank Indonesia will carry out modernization to the financial market infrastructures that organized by Bank Indonesia, namely BI RTGS, BI S4, and BI ETP, as well as strengthen the regulatory framework and related developments, Central Counterparty or CCP, and Trade Repository or TR. Data Hub will integrate the acquisition and payment transaction data traffic. Granular data acquisition results will be processed into Data Hub and presented back to the authorities and industries, while still paying attention to the Access Authority and protect personal data. Meanwhile, Payment ID will be a digital identity in the payment system that can be further processed into a high-value added information content and can be used to open up opportunities for economic and financial inclusion. Simplified and integrated licensing regime will be implemented without decreasing the prudential aspects based on the type of activity carried out or activity phase, and arranged according to the size, scale, and scope. The supervision methodology will be strengthened by combining the risk-based supervision method with the compliant-based supervision and by utilizing granular data, availability of granular data through data collection and data analytics, opening opportunities for strengthening the implementation of licensing and supervision through the use of RegTech and SupTech solutions. Bank Indonesia's efforts to encourage innovation are realized by revitalizing the sandbox function to Sandbox 2.0. Bank Indonesia believes that digitalization will be able to transform Indonesia into a developed high-income nation. Digital transformation in the financial sector that jointly carried out by regulators and industry will be able to answer challenges in the digital era.
Setiap tahun, Indonesia semakin bergerak maju untuk menjadi pusat pengembangan ekonomi dan keuangan syariah dunia. Seluruh unsur dalam ekosistem ekonomi dan keuangan syariah berkomitmen serta terus berupaya meningkatkan peran industri halal agar dapat terus berkontribusi mendorong pertumbuhan ekonomi nasional. ISEF tahun ini diselenggarakan secara hybrid, kerjasama antara Bank Indonesia dan Komite Nasional Ekonomi Keuangan Syariah, serta berbagai mitra strategis di bidang ekonomi dan keuangan syariah. Kolaborasi berbagai pihak dari domestik hingga internasional yang semakin luas. Penyelenggaraan ISEF 2022 mengambil tema Recover Together, Recover Stronger, Optimizing Sharia Economy and Finance for Inclusive Recovery. Tema ini beresonansi dengan tema presidensi G20 Indonesia tahun 2022 sebagai bentuk upaya kita bersama untuk semakin bersinergi dalam mendorong kontribusi Eksiar untuk mendukung pemulihan ekonomi secara lebih cepat dan lebih kuat di berbagai wilayah Indonesia. ISEF 2022 mengelompokkan topik pembahasan menjadi 3 area, yakni ekonomi inklusi, halal and green lifestyle, dan digitalisasi yang berfokus pada kegiatan Indonesia International Modest Fashion Festival atau Into Motion Fest, penguatan ekosistem Global Halal Hub, dan akselerasi sertifikasi halal. Berbagai inovasi dalam pengembangan dan promosi bisnis syariah, serta upaya peningkatan likuiditas pasar uang syariah, pembiayaan syariah, serta peran sektor keuangan sosial syariah yang lebih masif untuk meningkatkan pemulihan dan kebangkitan UMKM halal, mendukung pengembangan industri halal, dan mengurangi kesenjangan sosial sebagai wujud inklusivitas pertumbuhan ekonomi syariah. ISEF dengan
Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Governor of Bank Indonesia, His Excellency Bapak Peri Warjio. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace be upon us. Shalom. Om Swastiastu. Namo Buddhaya. Salam Kebajikan. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me Wahyu Wiwoho to be the host for our event on today's event, and praise to the presence of the God Almighty because of His blessings. In this very precious moment, we can all meet at high-level panel seminar, Islamic Finance and Digitalization, Digital Transformation in Islamic Finance. Distinguished guest, Governor of Bank Indonesia, His Excellency Bapak Peri Warjio, Governor of Saudi Central Bank, His Excellency Fahad Al-Mubarak, President of ISDB, His Excellency Muhammad Al-Jasser, Governor of Bank Negara Malaysia, Her Excellency Noor Shamsiah Muhammad Yunus, Deputy Governors of Bank Indonesia, Bank of Thailand, Bank Central Pilipinas, panelists from Bank Indonesia, Saudi Central Bank, ISDB Institute, SESRIC, KNEKS, ASA, Beyond Limit, Head of Departments and Representatives Offices of Bank Indonesia, representatives from ministries and institutions, and all our respected participants, invitees, stakeholders, strategic partners, ladies and gentlemen. Before we commence the event, let us raise our gratitude to God Almighty by hearing Quran recitation delivered by Ustad Abu Yazid.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فإذا قضيت الصلاة فانتشروا في الأرض وابتغوا من فضل الله وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا وابتغوا من فضل الله واذكروا الله كثيرا لعلكم تفلحون بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم له معقبات من بين يديه ومن خلفه من بين يديه ومن خلفه يحفظونه من أمر الله إن الله لا يغير ما بقوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم وإذا أراد الله بقوم سوءا فلا مرد له وما لهم من دونه من وما لهم من دونه من وال صدق الله العظيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Ladies and gentlemen, with the rapid digitalization trend, it has overreaching implications for Islamic finance such as banking, the capital market that covers sukuk, and Islamic mutual funds, insurance or takaful, and wealth management, which are benefiting from this usage innovation in digital technology based on blockchain technology innovation to increase resiliency and productivity. And besides, given the importance of Islamic social finance in the midst of pandemics, digital innovation is an enabler to accelerate the digital Islamic economy and finance ecosystem transformation. As an example of Indonesia's experience, QR code Indonesia Standard, or KRIS, is widely used for the distribution of zakat, infak, sedekah, either through the national, provincial, district levels of Islamic boarding school or pesantren, most zakat boards, Amil institution, and also numerous social activities. With KRIS innovation, it can help SMEs expand their business by providing a payment instrument that is fast, cheap, easy to use, and also reliable. Furthermore, with the presence of KRIS cross-border, it will be much easier and more efficient for MSMEs to make transactions when entering the global market. Ladies and gentlemen, this seminar brings out notable speakers from both regulator and practitioner sides in order to discuss the current issues of rising digitalization that affect economic and financial policies in the jurisdiction that Islamic finance activities are operating, in order to improve the understanding of digital innovation vis-a-vis Islamic finance. Ladies and gentlemen, to show you what is transformation of digital payment system all about, we have a comprehensive presentation on this following video.
Digitalization has brought about changes in all walks of life, including the way we transact and make payments. All providers innovate to offer integrated, interconnected, and interoperable services. In this case, the role of regulators is very important to ensure that payment systems run safely and efficiently for all users. Bank Indonesia also supports the integration of the economy and financial digitalization, particularly in the payment system, by implementing the Indonesian Standard Quick Response Code, or KRIS, since January 2020. KRIS is a QR code standard for payment in Indonesia that connects all payment system providers. KRIS can link to various banking and non-banking funds such as deposits, electronic money, debit cards, and credit cards. KRIS can be used through various payment and mobile banking applications, enabling people to make contactless and digital payments from various payment system providers. Merchants will instantly receive transaction notification and receive the funds in their account. With all the benefits, KRIS is used by more than 15 million merchants. From micro businesses to large enterprises, Bank Indonesia, Payment System Association, and Payment System Industries continuously develop KRIS features. KRIS Consumer Presented Mode, the KRIS Transfer, Withdrawal and Transfer, and KRIS Without Presence. CRIS Cross-Border enables two interconnected countries to make payments using payment applications from their respective providers. This is possible through cooperation between central banks, associations, and payment system industries. Switching between the two countries enables the connectivity, and transaction settlements will utilize the Local Currency Settlement, or LCS, framework. QR cross-border will make it easier for both countries, especially those with high trade and tourism activity. CRIS Digital Payment also supports financial inclusion. CRIS supports small or traditional merchants to adopt digital technology and enter into the financial system. With profile and recorded transactions, merchants will find it easier to apply financing. In the future, we will continue to push the users of CRIS massively, developing CRIS features, including expanding QR cross-border cooperation with other countries in the region.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, next we will listen a keynote address that directly delivered by the President of Islamic Development Bank. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage His Excellency Mohammed Al-Jazer.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على أفضل الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Your Excellency, Mr. Piri Warejiyo, Governor of Bank Indonesia, Your Excellency, Dr. Fahad Al-Mubarak, Governor of the Saudi Central Bank, dear governors, colleagues, participants, sisters and brothers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First, I would like to extend special thanks to His Excellency President Joko Widodo, President of the Republic of Indonesia, for hosting this important event and for his honorable patronage of this ceremony. I would also like to sincerely thank Bank Indonesia and the Saudi Central Bank for organizing this flagship event. It is always a pleasure to co-convene such events with our strategic partners across the public and private sectors to deliberate on global challenges. Islamic finance, with unprecedented innovative digitalization, is a catalyst for supporting sustainable development in our member states. Since its inception, the Islamic Development Bank Group has been a leader in building and enhancing the Islamic finance industry as part of our mandate to advance the livelihoods and prosperity of our communities worldwide. In line with this mission, we gather today to explore the opportunities of Islamic finance in the digital age. We have witnessed unparalleled developments in recent times. The COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted the very fabric of society and the prevailing socio-economic order. The combined effect of the pandemic and global tensions has led to a substantial increase in poverty worldwide. According to the World Bank's estimate, the extremely poor has increased from 581 million to about 676 million, an increase of roughly 95 million. In some other estimates, the increase exceeds 250 million. Moreover, the pandemic caused a major shock to children's education worldwide. About 70% of 10-year-olds in low and middle income countries cannot pass a basic literacy test and are now considered learning poor. This generation of students is estimated to risk losing about $21 trillion of potential lifetime earnings in present value or about 17% of the current global GDP. On the brighter side, however, the pandemic has increased the number of people using digital means for payments. Based on the global Findex database of the World Bank, the percentage of adults holding an account at a regulated financial institution increased by around 9% between 2017 and 2021. This corresponds to about 500 million people. The increase is evident in developing countries. These numbers of increased poverty and increased financial inclusion mean that we have an excellent opportunity to employ financial technologies to reduce poverty and enhance shared prosperity. But to seize these opportunities, we need to formulate appropriate policies to guide the application of these technologies to serve the common good. As we all know, technology has two edges. Without a moral compass, technological advancements might do more harm than good. This is where the principles of Islamic finance come into play. These principles guide finance to support the creation of productive wealth while encouraging social solidarity and fair distribution of wealth. Digital Islamic finance is well positioned to economically empower our communities in member and non-member countries. My colleagues at the Islamic Development Bank Group are working hard to contribute to innovative financial technologies and to capitalize on these innovations to enhance financial inclusion and support social responsibilities. Excellencies, distinguished guests, I take this opportunity to call upon all esteemed participating members to join hands and pave the path that enables Islamic finance to help realize the full potential of modern financial technologies to overcome the economic challenges we face. Poverty has no religion, and we are all in the same boat. We have a moral responsibility not only to our member countries, but also to humanity at large. I am confident that together we can realize our dreams. We shall recover together and recover stronger. Terima kasih. Thank you very much. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you, His Excellency Mohammed Al-Jazer. Next, ladies and gentlemen, we are about to listen to the second keynote address from the Governor of Saudi Central Bank. We are request the honor of presence on stage, His Excellency Fahad Al-Mubarak.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد. Governor Peri Warjio, Governor of Bank of Indonesia, President Dr. Al-Jazer of Islamic Development Bank, all the great deputy governors around here, and distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It truly gives me a great pleasure to be among you today in this very important high-level seminar on Islamic finance and digitalization on the margin of the 2022 G20 Leaders Summit under the leadership of Indonesia. Today, we are discussing two very important subjects and how they intertwined. We have seen the video, we've heard His Excellency Al-Jazer making great statements on the subject. We have a very large Islamic community around the world. There are over 20 trillion of GDP. 50 countries around the world has large population of Muslims. 1.7 billion population, representing about 20% of the world population. However, we are facing a lot of challenges, including low financial inclusion, poverty, high unemployment in some countries, including among young and women, and challenges facing the SMEs, the engine for growth and job creation. With all those challenges, at the same time, we have a great opportunity called technology that would help us overcome all those challenges. Indeed, digitalization is the opportunity. We are also blessed in the Muslim world of a lot of young people who are tech savvy and innovative. We see many successes in Islamic countries. Look at the case of Indonesia, what we have just seen across all products. We see great innovation and ease of use. We are early adopters of technology. In the last decades, we have seen great innovation and great innovative ideas in Islamic finance products. Now, we are witnessing the adoption of technologies on those products to make those Sharia-compliant products more efficient, cheaper, accessible, competitive, and it will help us both increase financial inclusion and elevate poverty. We have seen how digitalization helped us throughout the COVID crisis, where we've been able to reach out services to everyone. Saudi Arabia is also a true example of advancing both Sharia-compliant products in all Islamic finance services and technology. We have developed many products in banking services, lending, sukuk, insurance, capital market, mutual funds, in every area. According to the IFSP this year, Saudi Arabia, with over 850 billion of Islamic finance assets, making Saudi Arabia #1 worldwide with 30% of market share in Islamic finance. This, along with other initiatives, allows Saudi Arabia to be #3 ranked globally by Renovative and #2 globally by EDBIZ, a Thomson Reuters company. We started our digitalization across all sectors, and especially finance sectors, and especially Islamic finance products. And my colleague, the Deputy Governor, Ziad Al-Yusuf, for Technology and Development, will be presenting the detail of the Saudi Arabian case later on in the next session. We have been very successful, and I wish all Islamic countries to be successful in developing both financial Islamic assets and products through innovation and digitalizing all products. In closing, let me once again thank my dear friend, His Excellency Governor Perry, for holding this important session. And I would like to congratulate Indonesia for a very successful year in presidency of G20, and wish you the very best on the next 2 days of Leader Summit. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you, His Excellency Fahad Al-Mubarak. Next, we request your readiness to listen to the third keynote address. Ladies and gentlemen, please give your warmest welcome to His Excellency Bapak Peri Warjio.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillahilladzi an'amana binikmati wal iman wal islam wal ihsan. Allahumma sholli wa sallim ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa salam. Amma ba'd. My dear friend, His Excellency Governor Fahad Al-Mubarak of Saudi Arabia Monetary Authority, my dear friend. My dear friend, also Your Excellency, President of Islamic Development Bank, Your Excellency, President Muhammad Al-Jasser. Thank you. Her Excellency, Governor of Bank Negara Malaysia, Governor Nur Samsiah Muhammad Yusuf. My dear fellow Deputy Governors, distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen. It is our great honor for Indonesia and Bank Indonesia to co-host this event, and jointly with the two reputable and very solid track record on digitalization in Islamic finance. Governor Saudi Arabia Monetary Authority, as well as President Al-Jasser of Islamic Development Bank. As having said, 2.5 years we are living in COVID pandemic. But Allah say, if there is problem, there is always solution, and a great solution. Surah At-Takabur. As long as we are willing to work hard to change our destiny, Surah Arad, that's just being recitated. And beyond that, we have to work together. Al-Jumu'ah. This is what we are gathered today, to always solve the solution, because there is always a great opportunity beyond that, to work hard, to change our destiny, and together. Let me say that on the following three aspects. G20. That we have been also working hard to digitalize our economy. In that aspect, I dearly thank Your Excellency Governor of Fahad Al-Mubarak. A year ago, when I come to him to seek his advice how to run G20 presidency in 2022, a very difficult time, he advised on many things, but one thing: continue the work of digitalization that Saudi Arabia already started in 2020, which is actually on the cross-border payment system. And we are in 2022, under G20 presidency of Indonesia, we are moving forward for global cross-border on the payment system with the target of cross-border and aiming for expanding the digitalization in many things, with the target of 2027, 2028, cross-border global cooperation. But we also advancing the work that having is, which is on the central bank digital currency. This year, G20 already agreed to work together on the CBDC, on the conceptual design, wholesale or retail, on the use of CBDC to financial inclusion, but also cross-border cooperation on the CBDC. Governor Fahad, thank you for your advice. We follow your advice, and we are moving forward for first initiation of your leadership in 2022. Thank you for that. Second, find the solution, work very hard, cooperation. This morning, among us, the governor of Central Bank of the ASEAN 5, Governor Nur Syamsiah, Managing Director Rafi Menon of Singapore, my Deputy Governor Fellows, Ronaldo from Bank of Thailand, and also Deputy Governor of Philippines. We are moving of cross-border payment connectivity of the ASEAN 5. We can use QR of Indonesia and Thailand, Malaysia, and soon with Singapore and Philippines. Fast payment connectivity, which is very fast growing within seconds. And more than that, we are also using local currency. We are rewriting the history of ASEAN 5 connectivity to the global. This is connecting the many initiatives in the region, going to the global. Once again, any problem, there is always hikmah. There is always a good thing, as long as we work hard and walk together. Thank you, Governor Nur Syamsiah, DJ Ronaldo, and from the Bank of Philippines, that we are ASEAN 5, leading the world for cross-border payment. Number 3, digitalization already and will reshape also the Islamic finance. And Indonesia also leading on this aspect. As you see from the video, using of the QR and fast payment, going to mosque, boarding, SME, also collection of zakat, wakaf. This is through the digitalization actually can contribute to development Islamic finance. Governor Fahad already mentioned also digitalization also for the sustainable finance of great projects, Sukuk and others. I think this is the key what we will discuss today, digitalization of the Islamic finance. What the key lesson of doing that? I would say DEF. DEF. What is D? Digitalize, digitalize, digitalize. Through the payment system, QR, fast payment, future CBDC, digitalize on the economic transaction through the payment. Digitalize of the Islamic finance, social finance, zakat, wakaf, infak, sodaqah. We do not need to open our wallet. Just tap the cell phone. Now in Indonesia, QR, fast payment already in many mosques, boarding, SME, those actually, that's one thing, digitalize. We need to also digitalize the sukuk, the other, for retail sukuk. So many can also invest in sukuk, whether commercially or akaf-based sukuk. One, digitalize. This is the solution that Allah, insyaAllah, give us for furthering Islamic finance. D. E. What is E? Empowerment. Empowerment of the people. Empowerment of our society. Go there. We need to empower, teach them how to use QR, how to use fast payment to digitalize. This is fast growing. Indonesia, I think the ownership of cell phone almost 1.5 times of the population. So many of Indonesians are already using cell phone. Implant the QR, implant the fast payment on the cell phone. Then we can teach them how to do digitalize. Our ulama, our santri, also our SME, of course, digitalize also empower the leader of us. This is the seminar that we have to learn, to empower all of us, the policymaker, the regulator, the society, the academic, empower for moving digitalization. F, what is F? Financial literacy. is very important, and customer protection. Because when we are entering digitalized, will be very fast growing. But there is also risk. Innovation have risk, cyber risk, also other risk of consumer protection. Financial literacy is a key. The third key, how can digitalized transformation in the Islamic finance, DEF, digitalize the Islamic finance, empower all of the policymaker, academician, regulator, and SME society, and financial literacy and customer protection. Once again, thank you, Governor Fahad, President Al-Jazer, Governor Nur Samsiah. Thank you for all of the excellent, distinguished speaker, ladies and gentlemen. Let's solve the problem. Move on, brightness over in the future, and work together to digitalize transformation in the Islamic finance. May Allah always provide guidance and blessing to all of us. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, His Excellency Peri Warjio. Please remain on stage. And I would like to invite His Excellency Mohammed Al-Jazer, His Excellency Fahad Al-Mubarak, Her Excellency Nur Shamsia Mohammed Yunus, Mr. Ronaldo Numnonda, and Mr. Mamerto Tangonan to join together on the stage to take a group photo. Right at my cam. Ready? In 3, 2, 1. One more time. In 3, 2, 1. Thank you once again, Excellencies, for joining the photo sessions. And please return to your seat. Thank you. And also thank you once again for His Excellency Peri Warjio for delivering the keynote address. Right, ladies and gentlemen, before we start our discussion, we have a coffee break and we expect you all to return to this main hall in 10 minutes. Thank you and see you again. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to begin our discussion. So I would like to invite you all to remain to your seat on the main hall of the Trans Resort. One more time, ladies and gentlemen, our next discussion is about to begin. Hence, we would like to invite you all to enter the main hall to remain to your seat. Thank you. Right, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us again on this main hall. And we're about to begin the first discussion that will discuss the digital transformation in Islamic finance, ranging from an economic and financial policy space, applicable regulations, and efforts to elevate the small medium enterprise business and Islamic social finance through digitalization during the economic recovery. Presenting for experts from regulator and practitioners, the discussion will be moderated by the co-founder and CEO of Settlement. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to invite on stage Mr. Matthew van Niekerk.
Quick check of the mic. That's working great. It's an honor to be here today to moderate this discussion with a panel of esteemed experts that are going to be joining me shortly. As mentioned, my name is Matthew. I'm the founder of a company called Settlement. Settlement has been supporting the digital transformation in conventional finance as well as Islamic finance institutions for several years. And we're working closely with several central banks and commercial banks to support them in achieving their blockchain-enabled digital transformation journeys. We're a low-code platform for application development that enables developers to realize their digital transformation ambitions safely and rapidly. Digital transformation, sustainable development, and Islamic finance should not be seen as or themes. They are and imperatives. The correct application of each in harmony is where Islamic finance can deliver a more sustainable financial model, enabling us to recover together and recover stronger. I'm honored to moderate this discussion with four esteemed thought leaders who will share their insights into the challenges and opportunities for digital transformation in Islamic finance. I'd like to welcome to the stage Dr. Yuda Agung, Dr. Sami Al-Suwalam, and we have two other panelists that are joining remotely. They are Engineer Ziad Al-Youssef, the Deputy Governor of the Saudi Central Bank, and Mr. Mazhar Hussein, who's the Director of Research at the Statistical, Economic and Social Research and Training Center for Islamic Countries. Welcome from Saudi Arabia, and welcome from, I'm sorry, I'm not sure where you are at the moment, but we'll find out in a moment. So first of all, I'd like to give a short introduction to Dr. Yuda Agung, who's the Deputy Governor of Bank Indonesia. Dr. Agung holds a PhD in economics and has spent much of his career balancing between policy and practice, having worked as a primary researcher and has many years of experience with both the IMF and Bank Indonesia. In January of this year, Dr. Agung was appointed as Deputy Governor of Bank Indonesia. Dr. Agung, we're looking forward to your presentation. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Matthew. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished guests, moderator, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure and honor for me to be here to share our experience, Indonesian experience, on digitalization of Islamic economic and Islamic finance. And also, at the end, I would like to share some our views on how to accelerate the digitalization of Islamic economic and finance. Slide, please. Yeah, in the recent years, we have seen that the technological driven advancement and innovative solution has led to creation of new business models, transformation of consumer behavior, as well as the new economic and financial landscape. The consumption has shifted from offline to online shopping, increasing demand for faster, mobile, and more secure payment solution. And this trend also accelerated the digitalization process in various aspects of Islamic economic and finance. In Indonesia, the adoption of innovative technologies and business model has changed the ecosystem of Islamic economy and finance. Prior to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic, digitalization in Islamic economy and finance actually has been building momentum and increasingly transform many things related to product offer and services. COVID-19 pandemic has then accelerated the trend in digitalization in Islamic economy and finance. If we look at the recent trend in digitalization of Islamic and finance, we can see that the first trend is digitalization of Islamic banks and the rise of Sharia digital banks. And as a demand for digital transaction has been increasing, Islamic banks have also been conducting digital transformation through the development of digital banking services. And recently, banks also collaborate with the fintech to establish Sharia digital banks. The second, Indonesia is one of the countries with the largest compliance fintech transaction. As a country with the largest Muslim population in the world, our Sharia fintech shows significant growth and projected to reach $11.3 billion in 2026. In 2022, Indonesia is top 3 in global Islamic fintech index. Third, digitalization of Islamic social finance. In recent years, the collection of social funds has grown consistently as a safety net for the economy. The role of digitalization in collecting social funds has also been vital, given the growing trend and public familiarity with the electronic money transaction. And according to our survey on zakat management organizations, nearly all respondents, 94%, have collected zakat funds through digital platform, with 84% stated an increase in digital zakat collection as a result of zakat digitalization. This digitalization of social funds have used various platforms, including QR, Indonesian Standard, social crowdfunding funds, application, e-commerce platform, bank super apps, and zakat apps. Fourth, digitalization of halal SMEs and pesantren or madrasah. This has been carried out to accelerate the financial inclusion and development of halal value chain ecosystem. agriculture business model in some pesantren like Itifak and Western Java has been digitalized end-to-end from production, marketing, as well as payment transaction. Ladies and gentlemen, going forward, we need to maximize the opportunities and to address some challenges that we are facing in digitalization of Islamic finance. In terms of digital foundations, Indonesia has a strong fundamental, such as demographic structures dominated by millennials and high internet penetration. The high number of active social media users is also reflecting the strong basis for digital native society. While in the Sharia aspects, the Muslim population in Indonesia reached 87%, equivalent to 12.7% of the world Muslim population. It also supports with a rapid growth of e-commerce, growing social financing, and our position as a leading Islamic finance country. Indonesia also faced challenges to overcome in digitalizing Sharia economy and finance. We still need to stimulate the digital innovation and products to respond to market needs, improving literacy for Sharia economy and finance, including resolve gaps in Islamic finance expert. A stagnant share of Islamic finance market is also need to be addressed, in line with the need to strengthen the link between Islamic finance and halal economy sectors. Ladies and gentlemen, in synergy with the government and other relevant stakeholders, Bank Indonesia firmly committed to accelerating digital transformation of Islamic economy and finance in Indonesia through several key strategies. As payment system authority, Bank Indonesia Digital Transformation State Strategy play a strategic role in supporting digital economic growth by maintaining a secure, orderly, and efficient payment system that can mitigate potential risks and protect the customer. To that end, development of Sharia digital financial services is supported with the main principles Indonesia Payment System Blueprint, BSPI 2025. The blueprint contains 5 main initiatives for implementation with 4 important milestones of the blueprint. First, on the regulatory reform. Second, on the retail payment infrastructure, such as QR, Indonesian standard, fast payment, BI Fast. And third, on standardization of digital payment system, such as the standardization of open API. And fourth, the cross-border connectivity that today signed among the ASEAN members. In Sharia strategy, digitalization is implemented in each pillar in process dimension based on the aspect of people, process, and technology. For the people aspect, digitalization process is only effective when initiated based on the readiness of human resources as implementers of digitalization and Sharia development. In addition, the selection of which digital technology to apply must take into account the needs of process aspect to be implemented. In this aspect, halal traceability and dynamic halal value chain should be taken into account, not only to increase capacity and operational efficiency, but also to give end-to-end halal guarantee starting from the raw materials to ready-to-use end product. from farm to fork. While the last aspect is technology, halal critical points along production chain value must be accurately and promptly controlled through digital technology application. One of the technologies applicable in halal food industry is halal blockchain, which can give prompt and accurate information in each value chain, starting from the production, handling, until distribution. All of these product dimensions need to be supported with financing dimension, of course, including the Sharia compliant funding and Sharia compliant digital payment. In closing, having said that, digitalization is not the only thing that we should put our focus on. Looking at the big picture, striking the balance between digitalization and optimized resource utilization to the real economic activities inclusively is one of the most important things in development of Islamic economic and finance. I believe the strong collaboration among us is beneficial to sustain development of Islamic economic and finance in supporting economic recovery. Finally, I would like to thank speakers and participants to make this event beneficial for everyone. May Allah Almighty bestow us the strength and patience to fulfill our duty in accelerating digitalization of Islamic economic and finance as an effort to recover together, recover stronger. Wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you so much for sharing insights into what Bank Indonesia is doing to support digital transformation to ensure that we indeed see a better future financial system in Indonesia. And I'm sure there are plenty of lessons that can be learned and exported abroad so that other countries can benefit from it. The next speaker I would like to announce is the Honorable Mr. Mazhar Hussain. He's once again the Director of Research and Statistical Economic and Social Research and Training Center for Islamic Countries, the SESRIC. Mr. Hussain is an international development professional with 15 years of experience in public policy research, technical cooperation, and project management. His expertise and impeccable credentials in public health, food security, and sustainable development, Mr. Hussain has substantial engagement through research activities with international partners and experts from the OIC institutions, the United Nations, as well as government ministries across the Islamic world and academia. Welcome to the discussion. So, Mr. Hussain, I would like to ask a few questions, if I may. I believe if we could unmute Mr. Hussain, that'd be much appreciated. Mr. Hussain, can you give a sign? Let's see if the... No, I don't think we have the audio from Mr. Hussain. Can I do a test then? Perhaps Engineer Ziad Al-Youssef, can you do a mic check for us? Okay. Slight technical error, or sorry, slight technical issue on the sound. I will then move forward with the final. I hope that we'll have a few minutes to try to sort out the technical issue for the sound coming in. But in the meantime, I'd like to provide a short introduction to Dr. Sami Al-Suwailam. It's an honor to invite or to have Dr. Sami, who is the Director General of the Islamic Development Bank Institute. Dr. Sami has been a thought leader in sustainability and Islamic finance for many years, recognizing the need for Islamic finance to strike or to have a complete integration between technological and human development to ensure sustainable development. A PhD in economics, Dr. Sami has a deep understanding of the need to balance short-term economic growth with investments in human capital, our most valuable asset through investments in health and proper economic education of youth, who will become future leaders and carry the torch of financial inclusion and sustainable development in the future. And this is perhaps where digital transformation can play a role to ensure that economic resources are deployed efficiently. Dr. Sami, I would like to ask a question, and if you could please share your insights. What is the role of the Islamic Development Bank in the digital transformation of Islamic finance? And if you can elaborate on that further, how can this be useful to member countries?
Thank you, Matthew. Thanks again to Bank Indonesia for organizing these two sessions. I'm sure most of you are now exhausted, so I'll try to make it as light as possible. As His Excellency Dr. Jasser mentioned this morning and this afternoon, the group is working hard to integrate and to contribute to financial innovation that would support financial inclusion and sustainable development. So let me highlight some of the work of my colleagues at the Islamic Development Bank Institute in this direction. We have been working on digital vouchers for some time. My colleagues were able to secure a patent, fintech patent for that structure. And now we are working with partners to implement the vouchers in some of our member countries. So the basic idea of the vouchers, and by the way, it's an old idea, it's not something new. The basic idea is that rather than the government collecting taxes from the rich and then giving it to the poor, why not the rich pay directly to the poor? That if that could be possible, then it will improve the efficiency and the integration between various segments in the society. Now, this is not a very new idea. When I was doing my PhD in the US in the early 90s, that was discussed frequently, that the government could issue vouchers to families, and they can use these vouchers to send their kids to any school that they would like. So rather than the government building a school, they would simply delegate this task to the private sector and simply pay vouchers to the family, to eligible families, who will then pay these vouchers to the school then will redeem these vouchers from the government. So the basic idea is not new. It's, from an economic point of view, it's appealing, but the technology at that time was not supporting that structure. It was not technically feasible. And that's why it was not, it didn't take off. But now, the technology actually is supporting this kind of structure. With fintech now, the center of the data is the user. We usually talk, in the past, the center of the data was, or the data were centered on product, on transactions. Now, with big data and people tracing whatever you do on your email, on your Facebook, on your Twitters, on WhatsApp, then it becomes user-centered. So the data is centered on the user. By having this kind of data, you can identify different groups of the society, and therefore you can design various programs to support various groups in the society, and that would make this kind of vouchers possible by identifying eligible categories or groups in the society. Now, with this structure, we can have socially responsible privatization. So we used to have to think of two extremes. Either the government is out, everything is privatized, and the poor is thrown under the bus. Or the government will do everything, they will subsidize everything, and it will become extremely inefficient and not sustainable. Well, maybe we can now have something that has the best of both worlds. So the government will issue vouchers to eligible groups in the society, and it will delegate these services like schools, like hospitals, like housing. Instead of having, affordable housing, for example, it will be actually the private sector responsible for these services, which improves the efficiency. That's the good part of privatization. Now, the bad part of privatization is that the government is out and the poor are in the cold. Now, this is covered through the voucher. So the government will issue the vouchers to the poor or to the disadvantaged, who will use these vouchers to access these services that are provided on market basis, and then these vouchers will be redeemed from the government through the taxes that they collect from the service providers. So there will be still taxes, just to be sure. It is not that taxes will be eliminated. It will be properly implemented. So you have economic efficiency with empathy. Now there is one more important thing, in my opinion, by using the digital vouchers compared to the standard, government-sponsored services. For example, for affordable housing, what would happen in affordable housing? We offer, or the government will offer, houses for the disadvantaged, for the poor. Effectively, we are segregating the poor from the society. We are putting them all in one place. And then what would happen from practical experience, at least in some countries, you will find this actually perpetuate poverty rather than reducing poverty. Because these housing now will be center for, unfortunately, drugs or crimes and so on. So rather than integrating the poor with the society, we are actually segregating them from the society. So rather than building, for example, affordable houses, we can simply, or the government can simply issue the vouchers to the eligible groups, and they can use it to access or to purchase or to rent houses anywhere in the society, which will make this group of people integrated. This is economic integration. This is much more advanced than simply financial inclusion. Financial inclusion is very important. It's a necessary step. But simply to have an access to account or digital payment will not by itself solve the problem. We have to move beyond that. We have to have economic inclusion and economic integration. How much time do I have?
You have another 2 minutes.
Okay. So let me move quickly to the under the hood. So it is not only the front office. That's what we have been talking about, is how to serve the poor and so on. But this would require blockchain network in order to have all those groups of people and issue the vouchers. But then these vouchers will serve like a kind of complementary currency or like a coin. And in order for this to be useful, it has to be stable. Now that's a problem. I'm sure you have followed the news of the FTX platform, where this guy, he lost how much? 16 billion in 1 week. In 1 week, his net worth went down from 16 billion all the way to zero. This is because we don't have yet a stable mechanism for a stable or a reliable mechanism for a stable coin. My colleagues are working hard on this, and they are developing algorithms in order to make it stable, to develop ultimately a stable coin or a stable voucher that can be exchanged with the formal currency in order to give maximum flexibility for eligible members of the society. On top of that, we are all aware of how much for example, proof of work, how much it costs in terms of energy, in terms of computational power. And we don't want to do that. If we want really sustainable development, then we have to have consensus algorithms that are sustainable from an economic point of view. Again, my colleagues are working hard on this, and they have already developed something and already patented. And so the final result is that our colleagues are working on both, the front office and the back office. And we hope that within the coming few months, we will be able to translate all these ideas and patents into something concrete that would help our member countries. Thank you.
Thank you for that. And Dr. Sami, if I may, I have one question. As you're working with blockchain technology and looking at developing token, or very far advanced in developing tokens, one of the attributes of tokens is programmability. And I'm wondering if you can, I believe in one of our previous discussions you introduced the idea, or had the idea of a Gesell coin, named after the Austrian economist who wrote a lot about negative interest rates. And I'm just wondering if there are any of the current work that's happening at the Islamic Development Bank Institute that leverages the programmability of such tokens to add additional attributes to a stable coin that might enhance go beyond what is possible with fiat today.
Yes, this is very important. I will not be able to answer very technical questions. My colleagues will pick up this in the second session. But yes, we are addressing these issues, and it has to be there, because otherwise it will not be feasible to follow the coin when it is, transferred from, let's say, the government to the eligible, group, back to the service providers, then back to the government. So this is, we are working on this, I can just say, in general.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, and I see our colleagues that are joining from abroad are on the screen again. Can I do a quick check with Mr. Mazhar Hussein? Have we got audio now?
Hello.
Fantastic. So happy to hear your voice.
Thank you.
So I gave a short introduction before Dr. Sami. I won't repeat that, but I would like to jump into if there's a presentation you'd like to share, or we go to questions that I'd like to ask.
I will just make an intervention. I don't have a PowerPoint presentation.
Great. Okay. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure and honor for me to be part of this high-level seminar, which is being organized as part of G20 side events and in conjunction with the 9th Indonesia Sharia Economics Festival. At the outset, I would like to express my sincere appreciation and thanks to Bank Indonesia, Saudi Central Bank, and the Islamic Development Bank for the organization of this timely and important seminar and the kind invitation they extended to our center. I also would like to extend my appreciation to all distinguished speakers for their valuable insights and to the moderator for his excellent moderation of this session. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, there is no doubt that Islamic finance offers an ethical alternative to the conventional financial system and presents unique solutions to socioeconomic developmental challenges around the world. There is a growing interest in Islamic finance products and services that has paved the way for its rapid growth in the recent years. According to the latest available data, global Islamic finance assets increased from 2.2 trillion in 2015 to 2.9 trillion in 2019. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Islamic finance industry witnessed a decline in its market size. Like many other economic sectors, it was estimated at 2.7 trillion US dollars in 2020. However, we then expected positive momentum in the post-pandemic period. The value of Islamic finance assets is forecasted to around 3.1 trillion in 2021 and 3.7 trillion for 2024. There is no doubt that, among others, Islamic finance offers a window of opportunity for the OIC member countries to bridge the gap in financing for development. And to this end, many OIC member countries have been increasingly seeking ways and means to strengthen Sharia-compliant ecosystems with a view to supporting their economic and social development agenda by benefiting especially from the positive growth and momentum of the Islamic finance industry. And according to the latest available data, in fact, OIC member countries as a group hold a predominant position with a share of 95% of the global Islamic finance assets. Also, the number of Islamic banks in the OIC member countries is on the rise, which increased from 212 in 2016 to 239 in 2021. As of now, 28 OIC member countries are reported to have at least one Islamic bank offering Islamic financial services. However, it is worth highlighting that Islamic financial assets remain highly concentrated in a handful of OIC member countries. For instance, Saudi Arabia, Iran together collectively accounted for more than half of total Sharia compliant assets in OIC region last year. If the value of financed assets in Malaysia and Indonesia is added to this sum, more than 2/3 of all Sharia compliant assets were possessed by these handful of OIC member countries in 2021. Distinguished participants and ladies and gentlemen, there is a growing consensus among financial experts and policymakers that the ongoing digital transformation and development of innovative tools could be very effective for the Islamic financial assets and funds. This drive could be instrumental in OIC member countries' efforts to achieve sustainable development without leaving no one behind, while observing a number of Islamic principles such as solidarity and fraternity. To this end, a growing number of OIC countries like Saudi Arabia, Iran, United Arab Emirates, Malaysia, Indonesia, have been embracing emerging financial paradigms such as fintech to digitalize Islamic financial services. According to the Global Islamic Fintech Report year 2021, the volume of Islamic fintech transactions in the OIC member countries reached to $49 billion. Moreover, the projections show that this volume will hit the 128 billion mark by 2025 with a compound annual growth rate of 21%, which reflects the growth potential and dynamism of this sector. Overall, these figures imply that the data I mentioned implies that Islamic financial services are set to reach more people in various segments in OIC member countries. One of the key drivers of this trend in Islamic financial services is the rapid digitalization and the response of the Islamic finance sector to new innovations like fintech, blockchain technologies, and big data. For example, in the Sukuk market, for example, the digital solutions have enabled several innovations, notably the launch of Formosa sustainable Sukuk, hybrid Sukuk, and particularly green Sukuk, which helped attract a wider investor base. Among other benefits, wider use of digital solutions and innovations in Islamic finance has the potential to accelerate the global mobilization of Islamic social finance in the form of zakat, sadaqah, and awqaf. That could help to address a number of pressing issues like poverty and negative impacts of the pandemic on vulnerable population across the Islamic world and beyond. Digital and online technologies in particular can immensely be used in this aspect to improve outreach as well as the collection and distribution of Islamic financial funds and matching between givers and those who are receiving. For example, mobile digital solutions could help the distribution of zakat funds in hard-to-reach areas in many OIC member countries. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic has led to some important changes, such as related to spending pattern and attitude of people, both in OIC member countries and elsewhere. And the surveys from MasterCard and Crescent Rating published in 2021 revealed that 52% of respondents in the surveys indicated that they performed shopping online, and 57% agreed that they started using less cash during the pandemic. And this trend is projected to remain in the post-pandemic period as well. And many of these new patterns are expected to trigger growth in digital payments and new IT and financial technologies that will drive the growth in Islamic finance as well. However, the development of the Islamic financial sector and product and services it is offering is largely hampered by the existing institutional and regulatory frameworks, limited financial literacy, and lack of well-trained human resources, as well as limited access and penetration of information and communication technologies in many OIC member countries. So to this end, the policymakers in OIC member countries should monitor emerging trends carefully and develop plans with a view to providing an enabling environment that would allow the emergence of such digital services and solutions for the Islamic financial industry. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, by seizing this opportunity, let me also give you a quick overview of the activities of our center in this domain. As a subsidiary organ of the Organization of Islamic Conference, Islamic Cooperation, OIC, SECRIC has been actively promoting Islamic economics and finance, particularly by collecting and disseminating relevant data and statistics, conducting technical research studies, and organizing capacity building activities for the relevant authorities, including the central banks and monetary authorities of OIC member countries. I would like to mention one very recent example. Our center is in fact currently implementing a project on strengthening financial literacy and promoting Islamic finance in the OIC member countries with the support of the COMSET. In this regard, SECRIC, in cooperation with the Central Bank of the Republic of Turkey, Bank and Indonesia, and the Financial Services Authority of Indonesia, has organized 2 online training courses and a physical workshop in Istanbul in September 2022. Around 150 participants from 30 OIC member countries benefited from these online training courses, and more than 50 participants from 20 OIC member countries and 2 observer member states participated and benefited from the workshop which was organized in Istanbul. Our goal in such activities is to contribute to the efforts of OIC member countries to raise awareness about Islamic finance and promote financial literacy, along with mainstreaming Islamic fintechs to ensure more inclusiveness and wider participation in financial systems in OIC member countries. Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, before concluding, I would like to reiterate that we at SECRIC stand ready to support our member countries in their endeavors to promote digitalization in Islamic finance and enhance financial inclusion in various modalities. To this end, we will continue to hold a number of activities in 2023. I'm confident that discussion and deliberations during this seminar will be instrumental in deepening our understanding of the role of digitalization to unlock the potential of Islamic finance and reflecting on emerging challenges, and also identifying solutions that could support inclusiveness and sustainability in this sector. I also hope that the outcome of this important seminar will positively contribute to our efforts towards taking intra-OIC cooperation to greater heights. I wish you all success in this seminar, and thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you so much for the explanation, the overview, the summary of the statistics that are relevant for the discussion around digital transformation. And look, I think the open call for everyone who is the hundreds of people that are here today and the thousands that are watching at home, if you're looking for support, I think you can certainly turn to the organization for exactly that. For the final speaker in today's discussion, I would like to introduce Engineer Ziad Al-Youssef. Engineer Ziad Al-Youssef is the Deputy Governor for Development Technology at the Saudi Central Bank. He has over 15 years of experience in digital financial services, and he's held managing director roles at the Saudi Payments Company. He previously served on various leadership roles in SAMA, where he was the General Manager of Payment Systems and previously Director of Information Technology for Payment Systems between 2015 and 2017. Mr. Youssef holds an MBA degree from Al Faisal University in addition to being alumni of the leadership programs of Harvard Business School and also INSEAD. It's an honor to have you here today, and looking forward to a brief discussion. We have about 7 minutes left in the discussion panel, and then we're going to open the floor for Q&A afterwards. So maybe I'll start. If you would like to give a short introduction, please feel free.
Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests, and I'm honored to be here with you, and thanks to Bank Indonesia for hosting this important seminar. I do have a couple of slides, if time permits, to go through them.
Yes, please. Please feel free to share.
Yes, I think the presenters from your side, please, can present.
Can we get the slides on the second screen, please?
I'll try to be quick for time. If you can skip, please, to ahead, please.
Yeah, if you can just give a cue when you'd like to go to the next slide, that'd be great.
Please, yeah. So the Islamic finance industry has been growing rapidly. Slightly, please. Has reached to about 2.7 trillion US dollars in asset size, and KSA has the largest Islamic finance market in the world with over 800 billion USD in cross-sectoral Islamic asset. The Islamic banking industry comprises of 80% of all bank assets in the kingdom and has continued to show strong performance even during the outbreak of COVID-19. Also, KSA hosts the lion's share of the global Islamic fintech transaction volume. This is just the background in terms of the current KSA numbers in this domain. If you can go, please, next. The following slide just we wanted to explain the fintech journey that Saudi has taken through from 2018, where we established the regulatory sandbox and launched Fintech Saudi as a market catalyst. And subsequently, the sandbox helped us to develop and reform multiple regulation. About 11 new regulation was issued as part of the sandbox iterative process, whether it's in crowdfunding, buy now, pay later, or payments and others. The result of that is we have now in the kingdom more than about 147 active fintechs in the kingdom. This contributed to a massive growth in terms of digital payments, where we now have more than 45% of all payments in the kingdom conducted through smartphones, exceeding the targets put for Vision 2030. And in lending, we've also the platforms have helped SMEs in securing funding that they need for their operations. Also in the insurance sector, digital insurance aggregators as well have a big market share now, albeit they're only been in the market for about 3 years now. And also that movement helped grow the financial inclusion from low 70s percentage points in the last 3 years to about 88% now. Next, please. Also, to build on that, the kingdom is accelerating its efforts in terms of enhancing the ecosystem and being a global leader in the fintech ecosystem. That was the pinnacle of that was the approval of the national fintech strategy, which was approved by the Council of Ministers in May this year, and it has specific targets in terms of number of jobs and fintechs we would like to see operating in the kingdom, as well as GDP contribution. That also that effort goes as well hand in hand with other major initiatives that we're doing in the kingdom to accelerate fintech adoption, and whether it's open banking, the enhancement of the sandbox, our adoption of subtech to ease supervisory and regulatory efforts between the regulator and the regulated entities, and accelerating blockchain adoption in payments and others. Next, please. In terms of the SME financing is a key policy challenge for all policymakers. SME funding gaps needs addressing by the SME financing ecosystem. And we have now multiple solutions in that domain, where Islamic finance and digitalization are already providing solutions to SMEs in the kingdom. Islamic crowdfunding platforms have been launched and operating in KSA, whether they are debt or equity crowdfunding platforms. They provide a crucial intersect between SME-focused finance and in a Sharia-compliant manner. And we have here just an example of some of these platforms that are operating now in the kingdom. Next, please. Sustainability and Islamic finance have an important intersect and synergy. Sukuk is the key funding raising mechanism in the Islamic finance industry. We have already seen sustainable green Sukuk issuance in the kingdom. We have two examples here. Sukuk structures are, however, complicated and more costly to issue than conventional bonds. The use of distributed ledger technology and tokenization could be the way of helping rationalize and simplify Sukuk structures, making them more efficient to issue and cheaper. This can help corporate Sukuk issuance and of sustainable Sukuk in two ways. First, secondary market tokenization and distribution. And the second is a scale up to full primary issuance using tokenization for corporates and even sovereigns. Next, please. Last slide. The key challenges is ensuring balance for policymaking and regulators between their financial stability mandates and the creation of conducive landscape for ideas and innovation in Islamic finance. The balance can be achieved through regulatory tools such as sandboxes and sharing between authorities, feedback between the market regulator and the regulatees and the regulator itself, using technologies such as RegTex, AI and big data. Also, upskilling regulators and their personnel is important to ensure this constant wave of innovation is operating efficiently and in a safe manner to sustain the central bank's mandates. Thank you. Maybe this will be complete the presentation.
Thank you very much for providing that overview of the what's happening in the kingdom with digital transformation, fintech, and the use of a number of technologies to make the financial markets infrastructure more efficient and more secure, resilient for the future. All right, we're going to, at this point, we have a Q&A session. If there's anyone from the audience that has a question that they would like to ask to any of the panelists, please feel free. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for the panelists. I would like to ask the question and also suggestion to Her Excellency Deputy Governor from Saudi. As we know that Muslims have an obligation for go Hajj. This is in line with the digitalization in the retail payment, because Saudi have the advantage to create the interconnected retail payment in digitalization using the QR payment. We know that many Muslim countries now implement the QR payment, and they're going for Hajj, right? Instead of doing cash payment in the retail, we can do creating the interconnected QR payment. And I saw that in your presentation, you have the sandbox. We can do kind of the small pilot between two countries bilateral doing this one to assist the Hajj and also Umroh. You know, it's really good potential to accelerate the Islamic finance and digitalization. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I believe the question was for Mr. Engineer Ziad El Youssef. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Thank you for the question. I'm not sure you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
I think it's an important question actually, and as the distinguished guest here know that Saudi during its presidency and G20 presidency in 2020. We've spearheaded the G20 cross-border roadmap, which it really aims to addressing the point of of my dear colleague who had asked the question: is how could we build the bridges between countries, and whether it's through direct bilateral RTP links or other platforms. So we are working together now as part of the G20 to, first of all, agree on accelerating that effort in the G20 payments roadmap, as well as we are having discussions with direct discussions with some regional countries where there are a lot of traffic between the kingdom. And you're right, I think that's the ultimate aim. And we're taking it step by step, I guess, in terms of those integrations. But providing our citizens, our visitors with easy and fast method of payment, cross-border payments, is a mandate that we're working on. And inshallah, this will be recognized and realized in the coming couple of years.
Thank you so much for that. I'm going to look to see if we have any more questions from the audience that's here in attendance. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My question is directed to Pak Yuda. My name is Raditya Sukmana from Universitas Airlangga, Surabaya. About digitalization, Pak, I want to discuss in the context of metaverse, Pak. We know that in the metaverse, we have to use a virtual reality, and then we can buy and sell in that metaverse. And then there is also option that we buy in the metaverse, and then the goods is delivered offline in our house. In that transaction, Prof, in the metaverse, how do you see the regulations, the regulators can intervene in the online transaction? Do they have like avatar, if this is regulators in the metaverse representing the regulators, avatar representing the regulators, or how? Thank you very much, Pak Yuda.
To summarize the question, I think, how is the, and this is probably a relevant question for different members that are working at central banks and regulatory bodies, but when the metaverse it's becoming more prominent, what is the role of the regulator for transactions that take place in the metaverse that result in delivery of goods outside of the metaverse? And is there a role for the Bank Indonesia to play in that?
Okay, thank you. I think this is too early to discuss this because you know, many international organization and fora like the FSB, BIS, and so on, still you know, discussing on this aspect. But of course, CBDC is one of the kind of, I mean, can facilitate this kind of things in the metaverse world that we are still, you know, envisioning in the future. There is a question also on CBDC for me by online. We are in Bank Indonesia still, you know, discussing and doing research on this, and hopefully at the end of this year we are going to issue a white paper, a public consultation paper on CBDC, and hopefully everybody can join and give you know, comments and inputs to the concept. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think, well, it's been an interesting discussion, hearing a lot of different viewpoints from the esteemed panelists that have joined today. We started talking about digital transformation, then we talked about digital assets, and we even dipped our toes in the metaverse. So we can see that for the people that are involved in this, obviously digital transformation is kind of embedded in what we're doing. We think digital first. And sometimes we think metaverse first. So thank you so much for your attention today. Thank you so much for the panelists that have joined here in person and online. And thank you everyone for joining us for this discussion today.
Thank you, Mr. Matthew. And gentlemen, we take a photograph first. Right, thank you. And the gentlemen, the panelists who join us online also join on the photo group session. Just be prepared. Right, on my count, in 3, 2, 1. One more time, in 3, 2, 1. There you go. Thank you very much once again, the panelists, and also our moderator from our first discussion this afternoon. Right, ladies and gentlemen, let us continue our seminar to the second session this afternoon. And the upcoming session will showcase the digital products in the Islamic financial industry from market players with current innovative business models and seamless financial transaction in order to be compatible with their conventional counterparts. Sharia views will also be discussed on how to develop innovative digital products in adhering to Sharia principle. Presenting 5 prominent panelists, the session will be conducted by the lead specialist of knowledge solution of ISDB Institute, Mr. Hilal Hussain. He is a highly experienced and specialized technologist with 20+ years of experience in different fields: financial, cryptography, TLT and emerging technologies, and also cybersecurities. Currently, Hilal is the leader of the knowledge solution team at the Islamic Development Bank Institute, turning ideas into platform-level innovation, designing and developing real-world state-of-the-art tech solution using blockchain and AI, ML for the financial and economic development challenges. And we have our panelists, Sharia scholar Ibu Dian Nashita. Professor Dian Nashita is a professor in Islamic Finance and Banking, University of Pajajaran. She graduated from her PhD in Islamic Finance from Durham University, England, United Kingdom in 2012. Currently, she is appointed as Dean of FEB UEE, a newly established international university in Indonesia. She was awarded the top 5 most influential women in Islamic business and finance 2020 by Cambridge IFA, the Best Sharia 2019 by the Investor magazine. And also we have Executive Director of KNEKS, Bapak Afdal Aliasar. Mr. Aliasar is an expert in banking and finance with 25 years of experience in related fields, starting as an executive management trainee at PT Bank Niaga, continuing to Citibank and having established a subsidiary, Citigroup Securities Indonesia, in the Citigroup Global Market Network. His interest in Islamic finance and Islamic economy has made him pursue this field by continuing to seize knowledge and expertise in various places, including in SAFE Malaysia, Durham University, United Kingdom, and Islamic Finance Qualification, Chartered Institute of Securities and Investment, TC UK. Since 2016, he has served as the National Committee for Islamic Economy and Finance that has the function to expand and advance the development of Islamic economic and finance in Indonesia. Next, we have Islamic Finance Specialist IFP, Bapak Greget Kalabuana. Mr. Greget Buana is currently serving many initiatives under UNDP Innovative Financing Lab as a technical analyst for innovative and sustainable finance. Previously, he was an Islamic finance specialist as one of innovation champions and valuable talents across UNDP. He was assigned for a detailed assignment in innovation in Istanbul Regional Hub in 2020. He completed his master's degree in Islamic Finance and Management from Durham University Business School, United Kingdom, and certified as Islamic Financial Planner by Islamic Banking and Finance Institute, Malaysia. He has also actively contributed to other Islamic finance issuance, such as fintech, insurance, investment, and others, and shared his thoughts on social media platforms. And last, we have Executive Vice President of the Global Partnership and Channels at Beyond Limits, Mr. David Liu. Mr. David is retired senior executive from Compal Group, a Fortune 500 company involved in designing and manufacturing IT and consumer electronics products. Experience in IP, M&A, corporate law, strategic corporate and business development, currently residing in Seattle with frequent visits back to Asia. Primary activities are angel investment and private equity investment in technology companies, real estate investment, and IP investment and consulting. Currently, he is appointed as Executive Vice President of Global Partnership and Channels of Beyond Limit, a pioneer in artificial intelligence engineering company creating advanced software solutions for the most demanding industry, including energy, utilities, healthcare, fintech, defense, and also intelligent infrastructure. Chief Digital Officer of Raji Bank, Mr. Abdullah Fureji. And ladies and gentlemen, please join us on the stage. Thank you, sir. And ladies and gentlemen, we have to take a photo group before we start our discussion. Right. Yes, please. Right. On my count, in 3, 2, 1. One more time. In 3, 2, 1. There you go. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Hilal, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Wahyu, for this great introduction. Bismillah wa salatu wa salam ala Rasulillah. Dear distinguished panelists, dear sisters and brothers, both offline and online, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh jami'an. First, thanks to Bank Indonesia, to Saudi Central Bank for working with us closely at ISDB to co-organize this very important high-level seminar on Islamic finance and digitalization. There is no doubt that we are recently witnessing a lot of this very rapid technological development in almost all sectors: medical, education, vehicle, all sectors, and Islamic finance is not an exception. We see that, for instance, these emerging technologies, blockchain, tokenizations, artificial intelligence, machine learning, Internet of Things, and you name it, all of these technologies are really impacting positively in the fast development of Islamic financial industry. And Islamic financial industry has a big potential that was really unleashed using these emerging technologies. This potential is very high and very serious, and I think we need to think of solutions rather than products, and solutions to real problems, so that we can bring in proper, very good innovation using these technologies to help and finding real solutions to the real problems and the economic challenges facing the community. Talking about solutions, we have Dr. Dian, who will be presenting on Islamic fintech and its challenges. So when we talk about solutions, we have to look for the challenges. Dr. Dian, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bilal. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished speakers, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for having me today. It's a great honor for me to be here in the prestigious event. Let me to share my presentation with the title, Islamic Fintech and its Challenges. Okay. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, when we talk about Islamic fintech, we come up with the data first. So the size and the opportunity of the global Islamic fintech in the world, we knew that Islamic fintech, there are 375 operating globally across OIC and non-OIC countries, which 26% from MENA, 25% Southeast Asia region and GCC, and 16.8 in Europe. So from that, there are 39 billion. It means less than 1% of the current global fintech market size. So it's very small than Islamic fintech market size globally in 2021. But Indonesia, we are in the top 6 market before Saudi Arabia, the first one, Iran, the second, Malaysia, UAE, Turkey, and we are Indonesia in the 6th. And the Islamic fintech market within OIC is projected to grow 17.6% CAGR to 179 billion by 2026. Next slide. So here the data. So we start from the market size, still 79 billion in last year, 2021. We are still waiting the number in this year, but we projected at 179 billion in 2026 from 375 Islamic fintech globally. And in here we can see Indonesia, Malaysia, and UAE is we call it Indonesian as leader hubs of the Islamic fintech in the world. So there are a lot of difficulties to grow Islamic fintech. Why? There are customer education. We have to educate the customer first. There are problems with the access to the capital, cost of customer acquisition, and also regulation. But they have the greatest enablers to grow the Islamic fintech, such as capital, talent base, geographic expansion, regulation, and also new emerging technology. That's the greatest enablers. Next slide. In Indonesia at the moment, we got data from Asosiasi Fintech Syariah Indonesia. So they have 4 type of fintech products. Peer-to-peer lending, there are 7 companies. It is Indonesia, Alami Syariah, Dana Syariah, Gaswa, Amana, Duha Syariah, P2P Syariah, and from payment, electronic money, there are Paytrend, Zipay Syariah, Link Aja Syariah. From securities crowdfunding, we have Syafiq, Fundex, Bizer, and LBS, Urundana. And the innovation of digital finance, there are 9 companies, OneShaf, Sobat Syariah, Zahir Capital Hub, e-funding, Syarki, Yuk Takaful, Moksa Babrur, Wokara, and Aman. So from the data in October 2020, we have this kind of Islamic fintech in Indonesia. Next slide. The challenges is very, very high but there are a lot of opportunity as well. So we have data here, most conducive and supportive Islamic fintech ecosystem going to Malaysia. Malaysia is the best or the most conducive. Indonesia, Dubai the second, Indonesia the third, with 12%. From the data, we also know the biggest challenging Islamic fintech facing in scaling up. The first one, access to capital. These are challenges. Islamic fintech need to access to capital, lack of regulatory barriers, lack of Islamic finance awareness, others, and the interesting, there is a negative perception toward Islam. So that's like a challenging to develop Islamic fintech in Indonesia. The next information, there are types of investor sought by Islamic fintech startup. So we know Islamic fintech here is part of a startup company. So they need angel investors, 34%, of venture capitalists, 20%, and the others private funds. So this the sponsor or the angel investor can be develop more Islamic fintech. But how to attract the angel investor to give the fund to the Islamic fintech? Next slide, please. So to become digital financial innovation, companies must meet 7 criteria. So it's very important criteria to develop more Islamic fintech. The first one, innovative and forward-looking. The second, using information and communication technology. The third one, support financial inclusion and literacy. The fourth, useful. The company have to be useful and can be used widely. And also the company can be integrated into existing financial services using collaborative approach and care toward customer and care about customer protection and data protection. Next slide. The other important factors to develop more Islamic fintech, there are the survey, the highest the most influence factors, knowledge and experience of the founders of the local market, and the rest of them, the company have to understand the local fintech industry, the local regulatory environment, local Islamic industry, and so on. So this the important factors to develop in Islamic fintech in Indonesia. Next slide. So we come up with the big question. As we know, Islamic fintech is part of startup, and startups have not been isolated from macroeconomics, even Islamic fintech. So macroeconomic shock can influence will shaken the global fintech community. It means we already have experience. Funding plunk insignificant to a ninth quarter, low to 74.5 billion US dollar in the third quarter of 2022, a 30% drop quarter on quarter according to CB Insight. So to make Islamic fintech companies survive, they have to enhance strong fundamental. Because without strong fundamentals, we did out. Startup failures rates are high, and the data said up to 90% of startup will die in the short term, and Islamic fintech is no different. So we come up with the big question: to develop more Islamic fintech, we have to answer the question: how authentic is a unique Islamic fintech in terms of philosophy, concept, and contracts compared to conventional ones? The second question: what is the positioning of Islamic fintech in the people's mind for the specific business model that makes people prefer Islamic fintech to conventional fintech? The third question, how can Islamic fintech define and implement more for substance over form? And the last question, how can technology through Islamic finance fulfill the needs of Maqasid Syariah as rahmatan lil alamin? So if we can answer these 4 questions, we can deliver this answer to the community, to the people, and give them a reason to choose Islamic fintech or conventional fintech. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Dian, for this very insightful presentation. Now you left us with 4 big questions, important questions. If you allow me, let me pick the third one, which is more into the can Islamic fintech, how can Islamic fintech define and implement more for substance over form? So you're saying that there's separation between technology and application of the Islamic fintech?
Okay, I think here we have to define first why people choose Islamic fintech compared to conventional one. So what the substance difference between two?
Okay.
Yeah. So what are different?
So yes, I think this will be challenging for our panelists to answer this question, maybe while presenting their speech. Now, without any further ado, Mr. Afdal will be talking about enabling digital financial transaction in Islamic economic ecosystem. Mr. Afdal, please.
Thank you, Dr. Hilal. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Distinguished guests, speakers, and participants. First of all, I would like to say thank you to Bank Indonesia for organizing this event and Government of Republic of Indonesia for the leadership of this presidency of G20. It's such an honor for me to be here in very important event. To continue what Professor Dian said, the big questions seems it's quite difficult for the fintech organizations to grow. There are a lot of issues that need to address. From the National Committee of Islamic Economy and Finance, this committee established 2016, and then in 2019, Republic of Indonesia launched the master plan for the Islamic economy developments. One of the big pillars is digital economy. So we're trying to understand how to enabling digitalizations in the Islamic economy ecosystem. We are not talking about how a fintech company to grow, but how Islamic economy ecosystem can get more benefit from digitalizations. So that's why one of the pillars, and then we are looking, thank you very much for Bank Indonesia, which already introduced the QRIS. This is very good initiative. We can see now a lot of digital players, not only for the Islamic fintech, but they are using the QRIS as one of the tools. Next slide, please. Yes. In the Islamic economy in Indonesia, for example, we can see people live on daily basis. They are using transportations, cars, train, even for the transportations for airplanes, payment, and then a lot of SMEs, marketplace, and then all the merchants, traditional market. And these ecosystems now is growing and more with digitalizations. The question, how Islamic economy can be part of the race of digitalization or digital economy. So that's the question that I want to raise for all of us here, to enabling the digital in the Islamic economy to be able used by our daily life activities, the merchants, and then social funding, zakat, and even for the Hajj and Umrah and others initiative is very important. So expanding Islamic finance will not be possible if we only see from the financial institution angle only. But we need to look at from the economy side. We know digital now is become something usual, used by others players. For example, manufacturing, transportations, all people using digital. But how to enabling the financial transaction, Islamic financial transaction into that economy. Next slide. Halal industry is one of the growing aspect in Indonesia economy and also in the world economy. Dinner Standard with the research say mentions people spending about $2 trillion per year. It's a very huge economy. So how digital ecosystem can be connect with the financial transactions. For example, like daily life activities, the apps that we use by people. Now we are trying to introduce the digital payments which comply with Sharia. Means the money will be in the Islamic banking ecosystem. It will grow the Islamic banking exposure. And for the microfinance, for the SME, they are trying to give some financing to the microfinance. But before that, they need to understand what are the behavior of the SME with all the collect data, all the big application, big data analysis. People can understand, so people can use this data for the financial transactions. Marketplace in Indonesia, I think now more than 3% of Indonesia GDP produced by the marketplace transactions. It's very huge. And now people use technology. But Islamic financial institutions, are they in these marketplace transactions? We look at when we buy something from the marketplace and then the provider will introduce whether we want to use insurance or not. Is there any Islamic finance insurance company offer that kind of product? For the peer-to-peer lending, for the payment, they call it pay later or something like that, financings. Islamic finance institutions are not in that point yet. So this is the mechanism that we need to build together. And more the sectors like Muslim-friendly ecosystems. When people traveling to Bali, they want to know where to eat halal in the halal restaurants, to find malls, to find the facilities. So the real life will be in this gadget. So that's why the ability to digitalize all the ecosystem is very important before we connect financial transaction into it. And halal blockchain, for example, we have a use case with the halal blockchains. We work together with one of the poultry industry. From the poultry into the retail store, the blockchain will ensure the halal traceability for all the chicken product used for the retail restaurants. And others, for example, like securities crowdfunding. Now we get the use case in Indonesia. It's already 150 billion IDR not a big amount, but it's already stated. It's already started that Indonesia SME raising the funding not only from the bank, but from the retail investor through the digitalizations. So this is the big system, the big ecosystem that digitalization must be blend into that kind of industry. Next. For example, I want to give how the journey of the Hajj and Umrah in Indonesia. When people trying to plan, I want to go Hajj, I want to go Umrah, start from the saving. Can be include the banking system or non-banking system for the saving, and then after saving, mutual funds can grow the assets, can grow the saving of the potential people who go to the Umrah. And then for the quota, the Ministry of Religions, General Affairs will handle for the distributions. And for Manasik Haji, using the virtual reality, it's difficult to get the people during the pandemic. So the virtual reality is the one of the solutions to do the Hajj Manasik. Healthy checking through the Peduli Lindungi applications, and then digital wallet. That's what we heard from Pak Peri, the governor of Indonesia. Alhamdulillah, we have a cross-border digital in ASEAN. But we want more. I think we need more. We need more how Hajj and Umrah people able to do the digital payment transaction in Mecca and Medina, in Saudi Arabia. So, and also, some of the people after Umrah, they are doing traveling. They're not back directly to Indonesia, but they go to Turkey, go to other places to see the journey of the Islam. So this Muslim travels more and more, they need kind of interaction with digital. So in this part, the collaborations cannot be only by the financial system, financial company, but governments and other stakeholders must be do the collaborations together to build more use case, to build more fundamental agreement, to bridge the cross-border transactions, to bridge how the financial ecosystem will be integrated in the such of kind of industry. So that's, I think, the issue now that we want to address, and hope in the future we can work together to recover together and also recover stronger. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Afdal, for this very good presentation. I think you truly mentioned about the behavior of the users. And this is back to what Dr. Sami mentioned about data around the user. So I think later on, Mr. David will talk more about artificial intelligence, how this can change the game when it comes to user data and how this data could be properly analyzed. Now we need to talk about the inclusive approach to Islamic finance through digitalization. Mr. Grigat, please, the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Hilal. Selamat sore, Bapak Ibu. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very honored to sit here along with these distinguished panelists, also with a good friend from Islamic Development Bank, and I can see that my Professor Raditya Sukmana and Professor Munati Muhlisin also along with us, and Professor Dian as well. So basically, I have to disclaim that UNDP is not an Islamic financial institution, and we are not Islamic institution as well. So what we are trying to share with you is how we can portray digitalization or digital transformation from the conventional side, which is universal, that can be also applicated in terms of Islamic finance industry. And allow me first to, on behalf of UNDP, commend Bank Indonesia, especially on its ongoing leadership in mainstreaming Islamic finance for SDGs. I would like to emphasize for SDGs, and also our good friend from Islamic Development Bank. I recall that we signed an MOU at the global level in Jakarta 6 years ago, and along the year and along the 6th year, we have been doing many things together. And this morning, I spoke at Development Working Group, sit side by side with the colleagues from ISDB, Dr. Hossam, and we're really happy to see that Islamic Development Bank and United Nations Development Program really supporting the government of Indonesia to be one of the leaders in Islamic finance. And next slide, playing the video, please. So the digital transformation from the point of view of UNDP coming from the digital literacy, and we need to understand how Islamic finance can support the SDGs. You can also play the video and the music, I think, because it's quite soft. And this one is the collaboration between Islamic Development Bank again, and World Bank, and Durham University, and United Nations Development Program, or UNDP. And it's basically the way we materialize the idea of digital literacy in digital way. So people, be it Muslim or not, they can share, they can learn, they can understand how Islamic finance, how fintech, how zakat, how sukuk can support the SDGs, and it's applied to everyone. So basically Islamic finance, why the UN on the World Bank, because World Bank is also UN entity, so we are currently engaged with Islamic finance because it's universal, in a sense, and it's good for everyone. So it's Rahmatan lil Alamin, already answering a question from Professor Dian. So the next slide, yeah, this one. At the global level, UNDP working with the UN Capital Development Fund, or CDF, UN CDF. So basically, we're supporting the government in leveraging the digital finance ecosystem, like for instance in Uganda and Namibia. So I would like to also portray some example from other country offices in Africa, in Latin America, not only in Asia or Middle East, because Islamic finance is everywhere actually. So from Uganda, from Namibia, we're supporting the government on the SDG, digital finance ecosystem, or SDG. DFE, so the report helping the government to codify learning and also to develop and prepare strategy in how to leverage, for instance, digital finance, green fintech, and also to make sure that impact of the digital ecosystem can be measured towards the SDGs. And we going all this through 4 elements. The first one is multiple opportunities to support national priorities. The second one is unlocking the potential in the local context. So we contextualize the potential, including Islamic finance, referring to the policy that imposed by the government. Number 3, by combining UNDP and UNCDF capabilities. And number 4, we also providing a set of activities under this program. Next slide. And I've been told as well by the committee, the Bank of Indonesia, we really need to storytelling about how UNDP or UN agency trying to leverage digital finance in many countries. So the first one coming from the Bangladesh. So basically in Bangladesh, we preparing innovative financial instrument that aggregates small saving amounts and allows citizens to mobilize and to deploy their money towards community development projects. So that's from Bangladesh. The second one, stocks exchange infrastructure for SME financing. This is not Islamic finance actually, but I think in a sense it can be replicated in Islamic way. From Zimbabwe, we created automatization of MSMEs access to capital and long-term funding through security exchange infrastructure. Number 3, in sustainable fintech accelerator program, especially for the green fintech, we created accelerator program. And the last one is from Latin America and Africa, from Argentina and Congo. So it's basically innovative approach to rewarding local communities and smallholder farmers for ecosystem services to support a just transition. So the basic formula in leveraging the digital finance is, we know that we have the ecosystem, like mentioned by Afdal earlier. So we have the ecosystem, we have the platform, we know the understanding of SDGs in relation to Islamic finance. So we combine these two, we got the innovative sustainable development financing. So that's actually the basic formula that we're trying to provoke in this discussion. Next slide. Again, going back to the good friendship between UNDP and Islamic Solidarity Fund for Development and Islamic Development Bank. So we proudly present this Tadamon Crowdfunding Academy. So it's basically a capacity building platform for more than 500 CSO in 57 OIC member countries. And one of them is Indonesia. Indonesia is one of the 7 pilot countries and the first in Asia Pacific region. So, and that's actually something which is very, very proud to be Indonesia, because we are not only the most generous country in the world, but we also supporting the development of this kind of platform. And you can just scan the QR code and you can see a lot of campaign to support the SDGs through this platform from other countries. And it already raised $1 million from many countries as well. And we're moving forward with the Tadamon Accelerator. So it's basically Tadamon incubation. We incubate CSO and NGO. And now we also developing the Tadamon Accelerator, but focusing not for startup, but for MSMEs, for CSO and NGO. Next slide. This is from Indonesia. So in 2019, I guess 2019 or 18, we are creating an Impact M Accelerator. So it's also accelerator to provide capacity building for the startup so that they can also measure the impact. And some of them are focusing on the technology, agri-tech, edu-tech, and then health tech as well. And you can see the Hear Me, the application of Hear Me is the first sign language translation application from Indonesia. And from these 9 ventures that we've been selecting, we successfully raised 63 million USD in the demo day. Next slide. This is quite interesting because it comes from Serbia, a country in the Eastern Europe. So Serbia has been leveraging blockchain, and I'm not going into the technicality because we have Dr. Liu that would like to explain about blockchain. So we work with a technology. We develop the diaspora remittance through blockchain, and also food donation using a blockchain in Serbia. And the last one coming from Latin America. Next slide, please. So this is quite interesting because everyone loves chocolate. So there is one chocolate trademark or brand in Ecuador called The Other Bar. So everyone who buy this chocolate, and then they can scan the token in the pack, and then it can support the farmer to grow more trees. So we buy it for chocolate, it equals to 1 tree. And then from the 1 tree, we can see how many carbon emission that is absorbed by the tree, and also how to support the farmer to survive in the economic turbulence and also to earn more money for their family. So it's basically using blockchain, we can track this, and I believe it can also be replicated in the halal supply chain to make sure that halal auditing and halal certification are complied. Next slide. I think this is quite conceptual, but this is what we have been doing in Indonesia through Innovative Financing Lab. So we're not working in silo, so we work with other financial mainstream like climate finance, sustainable finance, impact investing, blended finance, and so on, and et cetera, et cetera. Basically, we know that Islamic finance is not the only instrument, but everyone can apply the universal value and the inclusive value of Islamic finance, so that we're trying to combine all these 6 financial streams. Like for instance, we currently developing Islamic blended finance. We also supporting the government in developing the green suku and social green suku. And we also this morning talking about INFF, which is integrates everything on the plate in the financing for SDGs. I think I'll stop here and we can continue the discussion. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Walaikum assalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Mr. Griket. Now we have 3 main points. We have the challenges that's facing Islamic fintech. We have the user data, the behavior of the users, and we have the measurable impacts. And all of these cannot be done without proper system, proper technology, tools, artificial intelligence, machine learning. Dr. David, the floor is yours to talk about how cognitive artificial intelligence powered distributed blockchain platforms can help Islamic financial digital transformation.
Thank you, Dr. Hanal, and also thanks for your leadership in leading this particular forum, and also thanks the organizers for hosting such a wonderful event. Again, I'm not an expert in Islamic finance. I'm basically a tech investor and operator. So I think I can talk mainly from the as a operator, providing a technology and how we can potentially contribute in the digital transformation of the Islamic finance system. First, let me talk a little bit about the background of Beyond Limits. Beyond Limits is a spin-off from NASA JPL. So basically the team that developed the Beyond Limits AI platform is the same team that actually developed the AI platform to drive rover to Mars. And after the successful launch of a rover to Mars in 2012, our CEO AJ convinced Caltech to essentially exclusive license the entire AI platform to Beyond Limits, and that's actually the team also came out from NASA to continue to run this platform. And we basically pioneer an AI platform called Cognitive AI. We call it Cognitive AI. Now, in the AI community, they call it Hybrid AI. So what is Cognitive AI? So Cognitive AI is essentially a combination of numeric AI, which is actually the majority of the AI platform out there based on machine learning, which is essentially getting a lot of data, having those data, kind of discerning the pattern, and then having that pattern that helps you determining a particular recommendation or decision. But however, I think when we're designing a very complex system, that is not sufficient, because it actually lacks the human reasoning part of it. And frankly, because of the heritage of our program, which essentially is sending a highly complex autonomous system to outer space, and then without communications with the human world, literally the rover, the system, actually has to make decisions on its own. And then the only way to do it is that we actually invented a lot of tools, IP tools, to help us build up like symbolic AI modules that essentially help us codify industry practice, human reasoning, scientific principles, and any kind of rules and basis that actually help you reason your way out. And the reason why I'm giving you this particular background is that after we have exclusive license this, we specifically try to choose some very complex industries to apply this particular technology into it. And the first industry that we apply to it is energy. So we are one of the pioneer AI companies that actually are deployed in energy sector. British Petroleum was one of the early technology adopter. And then we basically deployed the AI platform all the way from upstream, oil exploration, oil well management, refinery optimization, and all the way to the downstream. And this entire platform, basically is enabled because of this cognitive AI platform that enable us to actually codify the industry practice. And from that point on, after the energy sector, now we have migrated to a lot of other regulated industries, including fintech. So we have a team based in Hong Kong that basically covers a lot of banking industries and insurance companies. And the way that we work is essentially we are working with all these industry experts to codify the expert knowledge, and then helping them to distribute that knowledge in the system, and then allowing the AI agent to be able to kind of deliver decision making that's actually well supported by human knowledge. And I think the one part is the reasoning. The other very, very important part is that because there's a reasoning aspect behind it, then when the AI agent actually makes a particular recommendation, it will also explain to you the reasoning behind that particular decision. And that is very, very important in any particular regulated industries. For example, I heard a lot about how can we actually make a system that's compliant with the Sharia law, and building a halal ecosystem. I think all that, you can actually build up an AI agent that ultimately can come out with decision and recommendations that actually compliance with those practices. And as we're moving, and maybe I can also tell you a little bit more about how we actually approach a particular problems. So when you're adopting this particular, kind of cognitive AI technology into a particular problems, usually we face 4 particular type of problem set. The first problem set is instructional. When you actually have to maintain a compliance system, so usually you rely quite a lot on human managers to actually manage human operators. So we actually build up a lot of modules that actually help you build up AI-driven instruction modules that you can actually use the AI agent to actually help you ensure compliance. Second is diagnostical. So diagnostical essentially is, once a problem happens, then you actually want to use the AI agent to actually help you diagnostic, the root cause of that particular problem. Again, that's another typical problem set that we have. One use cases that we have done, with some of the banks in East Asia was on anti-money laundering, for example. A lot of times, when we are facing a lot of problems, when you have massive amount of data, and then there's a lot of false alarms. Even the human operators are not, equipped to actually try to identify the particular problems to go after. So what we're trying to do is essentially we're trying to codify a lot of experienced investigators' insight on that particular problem, and then so that they can target, any particular potential anomaly to go after. So that's a diagnostical. And then the other one is prediction. Obviously, using a lot of AI knowledge, the data plus the human knowledge, that you can do a lot of prediction. For example, I think we were talking about, the token and stabilization issues. There's a lot of, potentially a lot of economists when they look at the, analyzing certain patterns that there will be a lot of knowledge that you can actually codify, so that essentially you're creating expert in a box, distributed that particular expert in the box in the system to quickly identify, some destabilizing the potential event. And finally, the other scenario that we talk about is optimization. Optimization is essentially, having a lot of different conflicting attributes that influence your decision-making process. And then, how can the AI agent can actually, consider all these attributes and finally still recommend an optimal course of action. I think this part also is somewhat relevant to the halal ecosystem that we just that I was listening to, in the past 2 hours or so. We were optimizing. We have a product that actually optimizes the refinery operations that really look at mainly profit, cost, and quality. However, now with the sustainability being another angle, now we're putting the greenhouse gas emission as another parameter that we need to optimize on. So, when you're optimizing things, then you can potentially, have another parameters that building, other attributes that you need to look after in order to optimize it and then prioritize it. And you can build that into the AI agent. So that's kind of how we look at the problems. And then usually we also kind of build up the entire ecosystem. Just now when I talk about, the optimizing, the optimizer to consider sustainability, we actually have a project that try to build the optimizer for the entire green hydrogen ecosystem. So you go all the way from the power generation, to the transportation of hydrogen. Same thing that happens, in any kind of big complex systems. We also look at the stakeholders. So I can see that, in a finance system, you have at least 4 different types of stakeholders. You have the regulators who are concerned about compliance. So you can actually deploy cognitive AI system to actually try to ensure compliance. You have the banks, who also have to be concerned about compliance, but also want to have efficient operations. And then, you can now also use optimizer, a lot of the instructional tools that I was talking about to really improve the efficiency, on that. And then, last but not least, we also have invested in blockchain. So I saw quite a bit about the discussions about the SMEs and how do you actually empower the SMEs. So for the blockchain investment that we have made earlier this year, mainly we actually want to capture the accurate recording capability of the blockchain technology. the enablement of smart contracts so that you can actually make efficient. I think these are all the advantages that have been mentioned by some other speakers. And I think that part you can also kind of, we can deploy that so that the SME can benefit from it. And finally, the last four stakeholders will be the users and the consumers. And I think the user and consumers, again, with the blockchain technology, tokenizing the activities so that, essentially you are potentially, rewarding and encouraging certain kind of participation. That's one. Second is finding what kind of activities you would like to tokenize to give it a certain kind of value. I think that's another one to, that you can potentially use the blockchain technology to encourage, let's say, socially desirable behavior. It could be you want to encourage that they are more sustainable in terms of their practice, that they actually encourage, behavior that improve the health, of the population. So things like that. I think there are multiple things that we can do. So I think that would be my contribution, to the panel. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. David. Very insightful. Good to see the fintech from both perspectives, from non-technological, from the stakeholder perspective, challenges, data, user behavior, and measurable impact, to mention a few, and how technology can really help in making this happen in a very smart way. Now, talking about technology and about crypto space, FTX collapsed. This is a very bad news, but I don't know what will be our reaction. Talking about Islamic fintech, is it really a concern? Is it something that we have to think about? Do we have to stop what we're doing and go back to Excel sheet? Or maybe we can move forward with some check and balances, and this should be an eye-opener for us. I'll leave it to our panelists to give their opinion. You go first.
Concerning with the DeFi, because fintechs in the future, Islamic fintech is impossible to not involve with the development of technology, especially in DeFi. So we have to do research more about how to DeFi can help the Islamic fintech. And it's still in the early stage when a lot of scams, a lot of sad story behind develop blockchain, and cryptocurrency is only maybe 10% of the blockchain. So we need more researchers, we need more develop, we can use blockchain to do the good things, such as Islamic social finance, Islamic finance. So about FTX, that's like when we start the journey, a lot of bumping in the process. Maybe that's my answer.
Thank you very much. Any other answer? Yes.
Thank you. Yeah, I think in case of Islamic financial transaction or Islamic digital transactions, the rate of digitalization is so fast, but the adoptions of the users, our consumers, sometimes cannot be, has a different accelerations. So that's why in the Islamic financials, we have what we call in Indonesia, Dewan Sharia. Ulama will govern the transactions. Will help to govern the transactions, even for the financial transactions. That's very good. I think collaborations, Bank Indonesia and Majelis Ulama Indonesia currently discuss the raise of the technology even for the crypto, and then release the new fatwa, whether the financial institutions will develop the new products. It will be harm the users or not. I think that shuts off the guard for us for the very high-speed digitalization is growing.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I think as a UNDP, we are not eligible to talk about the Sharia, the Fatwa, or the Islamic jurisprudence. But from development perspective and SDG-wise, I think any kinds of digitalization or digital transformation, it's like two sides of coin. So in one side, we have been very advancing in doing in leveraging blockchain, we having a cryptocurrency. But we also need to understand and be notified that in the other side, some people are left behind. So some people are having the difficulty to access the digitalization, to also having a difficulty to, the terms of digital divide, right? So whatever it is, it can be a cryptocurrency or blockchain or like a fintech. So the ultimate goals or objective is to serve everyone so that people can inclusively getting the access to financial technology. And that's the first opinion. The second opinion is about, we've been doing a research with UK Islamic Finance Council, and there is one terminology that we really like so much because it's going beyond halal haram debate. It's called a halal plus or halal toyib. So whatever it is, technology should make our life easier. And we believe that it's supposed to be beyond halal. It's not only just permissible and not permissible, but what's beyond permissible? Why is it permissible? Why is it beneficial for people? Why is it Islamic finance adopted in the UN? Even in the proposal that we developed for Somalia Zakat Fund, we quoting a verse from the Quran because it's universal. So we have to be careful between the digital divide, also digital transaction, digital transformation. So that's my opinion. Thank you.
I think from a technological perspective, I saw a lot of good ideas that was actually presented before. Sandboxing. Regulatory sandboxing is extremely important. I think especially when you're deploying certain kind of digital currency type of project, that how do you actually predict some potential an unforeseen event? I know it's actually kind of contrary, predicting unforeseen event. But however, there's a lot of theory, that, for example, once you deploy a halal-based digital currency system, you probably have to have sociologists, economists who understand the behavior, and then, giving us a certain kind of rules, and then, the cognitive AI system is helpful, because then you can actually codify some of those rules, and then, frankly, you can use some of the past data of what actually happened in the digital currency world. I mean, I would love to actually do some retrospective analysis of what happened, in the last couple of years, on the digital currency in the, for example, the collapse of FTX, and then trying to do some analysis and then put in some, the expert knowledge in there in the cognitive AI system to analyze what could have happened, and I think that kind of sandboxing is actually quite important. Yeah.
Thank you very much. We have a lot of opinions here. Now we will give some floor for the Q&A session. If anyone would like to ask, yes, please.
Thank you. That's really interesting talk. One thing missing here, at least in my personal opinion, what kind of fintech we are talking about. If we refer to the, let's say, Financial Stability Board, there are at least 5 types of the fintech. Payment, deposit, lending, insurance, investment, and supporting. You may say that is about the risk management or aggregator. Now, among the 6, there are not really related to the Sharia complaint, especially payment. This is very neutral. Now, this one we are talking about the product, right? This product support by other technology. You may say that it's about big data, NLP, ML, OAI, blockchain, DLT, biometric, digital identity, a lot to support that one. But this is product. If you want to avoid the fail, either from regulator point of view or the fintech itself, we forget 2 other factors, process and people. Do the product understand by the people? Do they use it? Do they like it? How? So in terms of fintech and technology, we should have a mindset customer-centric. We should create the value to the people, not push otherwise, especially for emerging market, right? So how to create the product that meet their need? The process is really important. Now, some speakers already said it also the previous session, saying that sandbox. Whether from the regulator, whether for the fintech, do the sandbox. So if you hit not hard, you can fix it, replicate, and develop it. That's the thing that's missing now. So regarding the Islamic finance, I think to creating the customer behavior, because in the fintech era, in the digital era, customization is really important. My need is different with other people's needs. The risk also different, right? Payment can be catalyst to creating more data, to create more behavior. Then expand it to the other product, whether these people need lending, or need insurance, not investment. That's a thing that missing for the Islamic finance and digitalization, especially for the emerging market. When we see the data from the fintech, from the World Bank, especially the Muslim countries, many countries below the average of the fintech data. And I believe that starting with the payment to creating the data, do the pilot in the sandbox and expand it. I think that's it, a comment from...
Thank you very much. Very, very good points. I think the panelists, they touch base on this using talking about the process re-engineering, talking about user experience, and talking about the impact to be measurable, and looking solutions to real problems, not only products, as you mentioned. Other question from the audience? Any other question? Okay, so our panelists, if you'd like to just conclude with 1 minute each, starting from Mr. Guget.
Starting from the youngest, I guess, right? Yeah, so no, I just want to thank you so much to Bank Indonesia, to ISDB and other colleagues, especially in Indonesia, that considering UNDP as part of the Islamic financial ecosystem, we've been working on it since 2016 at all levels, global, national, regional, and local. So we really hope that our presence in the Islamic finance ecosystem and industry can drive new narratives, also new perspective and new voices about Islamic finance, which is universal and inclusive, and it's also in line with the spirit of SDGs, including how we leverage the digital transformation. So I think, thank you so much again to Bank Indonesia and ISDB. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.
Yeah. I also like to say thank you to Bank Indonesia, to ISDB, to Saudi Arabia Central Bank, to the government of Indonesia for the presidency of G20. I think digitalization is the future for the financial and also the future for the Islamic finance. So let's use these digitalizations as a tools and create more process, more benefit, not only for the players, for the financial institutions, but more focus to the customers, to develop the economy, to give benefit for our people to recover together, recover stronger. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay. We live in the VUCA era, volatility of vulnerable, uncertainty, complexity and ambigu. It means that we will facing the uncertainty in the future, and at the same time technology develop, and every smartphone in the hand of the people, so a lot of innovation. We can reach people peer-to-peer, and we have Islamic finance have to rethink about our way to deliver knowledge, deliver product. So that's why we need more research, more collaboration to achieve or to reach more people, more ummah, to get the benefit to the society through technology. Inshallah, collaboration is a must to facing the uncertainty in the future. Thank you for Bank Indonesia to invite us and discuss about digitalization, because we are academicians is very hungry and try to find out what the solution in this era. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Once again, I really thank the organizer for inviting me, a non-Islamic finance expert, to be on the panel to talk about a topic of such importance. But having said that, I think it is important for the technology community to have constant and deep conversation and dialogue, with the industry, and so that to make our technology more relevant, more human. So again, thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Hilal, 2 seconds. So I forgot to mention Saudi Central Bank several times. So we do appreciate and thank you so much for Saudi Central Bank.
Thank you. Thank you all for your time, for listening to this very informative presentations and discussions. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hilal, and ladies and gentlemen, the panelists, you may return to your seat. Thank you once again. Thank you. We give a big round of applause for the panelists and our moderator on our today's event. Thank you very much. Right, ladies and gentlemen, we finally reached the end of our session, the high-level panel seminar, Islamic Finance and Digitalization, Digital Transformation in Islamic Finance. On behalf of the committee, we apologize for all the shortcomings. I'm Wahyu Wibowo signing off. See you next time. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.